Hello, everybody, and welcome to Chapter 2, Session 8 of the Imris Saga. I want to know how everybody's doing today. After that. But I am glad to have everybody here, getting ready to play some Dungeons and Dragons. Two people are sick, so you will forgive them for that. Our good friends Charlie and Jack.
You will forgive us.
You will
The
forgive them.
support structure of the party is quite ill.
Yeah, so last session we got the band back together. Alveron, still at sea, ran into the Blackened Skies with the they got from the Lady of Petals. There was a ship-based encounter where it was a little bit back and forth. It ended with the Pale Dawn ramming the Blackened Skies, and it looked like a boarding action was about to happen with some of the crew on the Blackened Skies rebelling to Alveron's persuasion. However, the Blackened Skies at that point teleported away, vanishing the whole ship, leaving Alveron feeling frustrated and enraged.
Putting it mildly.
Alveron contacted Will Sulveran, who then, or was contacted by Will and Sulveran, just in the checkup process. And it was everybody was brought together then to Tal'Anfagon, where Alveron, in a severe crisis of faith, went to the temple to Semillus and dove into the water till they were at the bottom of the seabed, waiting to happen. Eventually, the god did speak to them. They rose out of the water, feeling, I think, somewhat renewed in their mission. You guys had all set out for the Ruby Palace to make plans, seek whatever aid that you can think of getting from the Uthana. And that's where we're going to pick up. I said last time, I was thinking, since it is going to be a little bit shorter session, we would abstract through this. So what do you guys as players want to do in reparation or etc.? You know that the captain is coming. You haven't figured out if you beat him here or not, because it was hard to say where he teleported to. So what are you guys doing? I will open the floor.
Will is, during this scene with the Suthana, going to tell the Suthana all of what Will knows, given her role in the thing, and the hope that the Suthana can aid us. Also, I will have told Alveron that we'll look for the anchor that is what the ship teleported to. I'll explain to Alveron the whole, hey, that ship is tied to a magical anchor that has been around for forever, and it's like meant to travel with a ship that is of importance to Semillus. I don't know why they have it. They teleported to it. We couldn't find it because of the way that scrying works. But also, I did see, the cleric saw the captain, and the captain had the ability to notice the scrying and stop it.
Andrew, does that jive with... I mean, he wasn't a magically inclined man when I knew him.
As far as you remember, the captain never cast any spells, or was never innately capable of casting spells himself. He was a vicious fighter, surely, and a taskmaster, especially once he became captain. But never was able to cast spells, as far as you were.
Okay. I relay that because that's troubling. Because I thought it was only you spellcasters who would be able to know if magic was being worked on you. But could it be something from the anchor? Could it?
Just because you never had the ability to do magic before, it doesn't mean it doesn't arise. You can learn, and someone can gift you with that power. If you were like really close to a god, I suppose that god could just be like, "Ha, have some power." I will say a prayer to Sara.
Sulveran,
just in case that works to get Sil to give me something.
As Will says that, Sulveran says, "You could trade some oath for quick power. It is possibly ill-advised, likely ill-advised."
You could be a genius and a quick study of the magical arts.
Although
side glances over at Will.
Both of you would know that would not enable you to see the scry spell unless first, for some other reason, they had cast see invisibility.
We don't have the time to really start teaching Alveron about the intricacies of seeing a sensor during scrying. I mean, I'm happy to take the next 4 hours as like a class for Alveron. But
why would we teach Alveron how magic works? He just does it. He doesn't need to know he's doing it or how or why. What could go wrong?
The PhD class will wait.
Sarah, go ahead.
There are an infinite number of magical possibilities to see the invisible at this point. We would exhaust ourselves trying to list even a fifth of them.
As you guys are considering this, or just kind of up to where we are now, the Suthana, of course, has offered whatever aid they can grant, but it's up to you guys to give direction. Will could have my attendants scry on the captain again, or perhaps one of the other crew members, see if they are perhaps in the city. But beyond that, I have heard no word of this captain being in Tal'Anfagon as of yet.
My lady, I would ask for either the scrying of the captain or another member of his crew, at least so we know if they're in the city or how close they are to the city, so we have as much time as possible to prepare for them. Though, if things start to go bad for them, they'll just teleport back to the anchor. So, strategically...
Only if they're on the ship.
How do you mean?
Well, the ship's what's teleporting.
True.
Not the people.
I highly doubt the captain or any officer aboard would take the chance of being marooned.
They're after you, and you don't have to be on a ship when they find you.
Yes.
I'm just suggesting something that takes away the ability for them to teleport en masse away. But it is your fight, Captain Alveron.
I just know that he wants me as bad as I want him.
Right, that's really your own business.
Two captains chilling on a magic ship, one berth apart, because no.
Do I know from my role if the anchor needs like a long period of time to recharge? I feel like you might have mentioned it, but I can't be bothered finding my notebook.
I can't remember if I mentioned it either, but you would know that such a powerful spell probably couldn't be cast like on repeat. Certainly not more. You wouldn't think than once a day at most.
Is there a way to do a tracking, like some sort of spell on the ship, so that when it teleports away, we know where it's teleported to?
You might be able to figure something out with that. It would be a complex piece of magic.
Is the sorceress here as well?
Yeah.
Can Will and Alantio go and like maybe spend some time trying to come up with a rudimentary, like specifically teleportation tracking spell? Like,
so just so I want to be clear, is the aim to like they teleport and you want to trace the magic, or is the aim to like have a device, or whether it's just like a coin or something on the ship that you can then that changes. It makes it easier in one way and harder in another way. Like
Will's very geared towards like spell casting to solve problems. So I think Will's thought is, what if I devised a spell where when I see something teleport, I can work out where it teleports to as a reaction.
You can make an Arcana check. Alancia will give you advantage. Your bonus certainly would be.
What if we created a spell that used the like immense amount of energy behind teleportation against the ship?
Like made a backlash?
It's very vague.
Yeah.
I would need more.
I also don't think that Will thinks of teleportation magic as particularly powerful versus any equivalent magic. But I mean, you're welcome to work on that spell.
Will, as you're kind of thinking about this, such a spell is possible. The teleportation magic does leave some after effects. You would probably need more time to develop it than you could in a day or so. You kind of hash it out in a few hours with them enough that you could attempt to cast it, but it would not be you casting. You basically have to use your highest spell slot and make an Arcana roll to attempt it. You are not able to get so far in even a day to be able to cast a fully fleshed spell.
Yeah.
Did you express this idea in the hearing of the others?
Yeah.
In that case, Sulveran is going to just kind of like shrug at you and then look over to Uba and say, "Is there any way their magic could somehow coordinate with this plan of yours to track them?" And that is me above board. That is me asking for advantage on that Arcana check for Will.
They already have advantage from a lot.
Yeah, okay. It just rolled real bad.
Okay.
Of course, you would think, or Uba and Will probably would know. If Uba can cast Hunter's Mark, that would also wouldn't know exactly where they are, but you could find them that way. But they would have to cast Hunter's Mark on somebody first.
Uba will pop up and suggest that, but in like a very, like, I don't know, like small child raising their hand in a meeting and being like, would my Hunter's Mark spell work? And like their hands glow a little gold, like when they cast it.
Well, it's like actually a really good idea, but Hunter's Mark is to help you track things, and water makes it really difficult to track things. But it would not hurt. You should also just Hunter's Mark. If you see the captain, Hunter's Mark the captain.
Uba gives a very mischievous grin and then stops casting Hunter's Mark at that moment, but looks very excited about being able to actually help.
Just throws a Hunter's Mark on a nearby attendant, just in case.
Run.
Uba starts to hunt the greatest game, Elcar.
I imagine Uba occupying.
Back. Go ahead, Charlie.
No, it was worthless. I was just gonna say, I imagine Uba with like Hunter's Marking a fly.
You just see Uba sprinting through the palace.
Will comes back several hours later and is like, "Well, I might be able to cast a spell that does a thing, but in the moment, it's whether or not I can gather the magic. It's not a perfect spell."
Another, I guess, point that you would, because since you guys are thinking of this, if somebody was on the ship when it teleported, the rest of you could use the warp anchor to get to them, although they would have to be on the ship, of course.
You also the warp anchor doesn't require someone to be holding it, right?
No, it just will teleport
It
to
just
wherever
needs
the
to be
other
on the
half
ship.
is.
Will thinks about it and like snaps the warp anchor in half to give half of it to Alveron.
Yeah.
I will also...
And will then explain to Alveron how to use it. In case Will is on the ship and Alveron isn't.
That's a good plan. I like that. Yeah.
I realize that the opposite could be true.
Yeah.
Has Will
Best to
told the
split it up.
party about Has Will told the party about Dimension Door as like an existing spell they have?
Yeah, you've seen
seen
Will
Yeah,
dramatically try and dimension door places. Will probably dimension doored into this meeting despite being with you up to 1 minute before the meeting.
if it's
Will
quick enough,
You-
you could possibly, when we get close to that ship, surprise them by doing that, and then we could all on the other end suddenly appear on the deck.
It seems to me from what you've said, Alveron, that the meeting will not be as simple as they appear and then they disappear. They want something about you or from you. I suspect they will stick around for a bit. But yes, I could theoretically teleport myself there and then teleport us all onto the ship.
We could also try and use Alveron as more than bait and sort of a fake hostage. If they need Alveron.
Uba pipes up and says, I certainly know a bounty hunter that would be willing to trade Alveron for some gold to them.
Who?
That's
Uba puffs out their chest and like points at themselves very proudly.
oh god.
I think maybe we're trying to be very clever to stop something that maybe we don't need to be quite so clever to stop. They're after Alveron. We're going to certainly run into them. Why don't we just, do that thing that you all at times have enjoyed so much with the killing and the like? If
I will
anyone
say
deserves to
one
die, it's the
detail.
people of this.
One detail I should bring up. Lady Stenna did mention when I met with her some time back that when Ortharin came to port, that she was supposed to have some sort of meeting with him. And I mean, I don't want us to move on him when they're together because that is very much going to be a breach of the peace. And
What if we made it worth her while?
definitely a possibility. I just worry that if we try to strike a deal like that, it could be viewed by others as her reneging on her word. And she's going to be loath to do that because, a lot of her power comes from her reputation. It's worth a shot, though. It's worth.
I think we should always, at all times, try and ingratiate ourselves with the criminal underworld.
Are any palace officials in the room as we're saying that
The
bit?
Sultana?
Up to you guys.
I assumed that there were, but Will will say it either way.
Yeah, as I say,
Probably
Medea's fine with the Suthana knowing about this. Like,
the Suthana and Lancia. You also don't know if the Suthana knows who Lady Stenna is.
That's fair.
she seems pretty informed.
Sure, you just don't.
Also, Will would have definitely mentioned that at some point during Will's time not doing anything.
As I say, Medea probably also would have been like, the only thing we really did was kill like a gray dragon.
Yes. And part of that was what got us. If I remember correctly, the terms of the deal was that they were no longer hunting me while I was in this area. That it was a truce, an armistice here.
Yeah.
Oh.
What it was
So
basically was that any bounty hunters or members of the criminal element in the city would not, in the city and the region really, would not go after Alveron. That was the deal you made with the Lady of Petals.
Gotcha. So that doesn't mean that we don't have to.
That certainly did not
deal with
include. You don't think that Captain Otherin would care about such things. He does whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah.
So is she obligate to provide protection to you if he attacks you in the city?
Not from him. It sounds like she has control over her criminal element,
Mm-hmm.
but he is an outside force. So
Maybe that would be worthwhile exploring. What if she doesn't want this outside force interfering with her underworld?
she most probably doesn't. So if they're not here yet, if their ship hasn't docked, then she and them haven't had their meeting, and I know where to find her. And she is most likely probably expecting me in some fashion. So I can definitely go and meet with her and see what deal can be struck, because the Blackened Sky, it's not a good force. And they're going to be bringing probably goods that she would want into the area, but a quiet smuggling ship is much better for her to receive those types of goods than one of the flashiest and most infamous pirate ships known to the region. So it's not like she's losing a valuable asset. It's definitely worth a shot. I can definitely go back to her and talk with her, especially after the last. I think I might have mentioned to all of you bringing her some of the loot from the previous prize that we took. So there is a relationship there.
Yes, I'm also aware of the Lady of Petals. Get into contact quite easily. You have a working relationship.
Not surprised by that at all.
Can I roll an insight check on the Suthana?
Sure. Go ahead.
Oh, I forgot that I'm playing Will. This is not as.
Can I make a history check if it's normal for these city kingdoms to work with the larger criminal elements?
I don't think that would be a history check.
I think certainly historically there would be kingdoms that work with criminal elements, and there would be kingdoms that didn't.
Yeah. Is this something that's happened in the past in the city?
I don't think that there's any way for you to be privy to that information through books.
Okay.
I want my insight check to be directed specifically at the words "working relationship."
Yeah. You roll. Oh, let me make an opposed roll. It's on the borderline where I'm like,
Yes, I was hoping to just get a critical.
Okay.
I have inspiration. I feel
think
like
it's really.
To use it.
I think
I
the
agree.
funniest thing that could happen would be the Suthana and the Lady of Petals are dating. I think that'd be hilarious.
I think
Hashtag
Will would be
power
very
couple.
on board. Will would be extremely on board with that as a concept.
Yes, Will, you get the sense that these two, there is a bit of a joke that what the joke is exactly, you're not sure, but the Suthana is very familiar with the Lady of Petals. You think from that comment.
There's a joke that's right there, but I know we want to keep this stream PG-13, so I'm just gonna.
The Suthana is the Lady of Petals.
Never said the stream is meant to be PG-13, and you're the one that puts that limitation on this. But
I'm putting that limitation on myself because I know who I am.
But yeah, Will just looks at the Suthana and is like, you filed that away in my mind palace.
I guess one other thing would be we didn't really get anything from the Church of Semillus other than what the anchor is. This, essentially, the Church of Semillus was able to tell us this artifact that we know about that was lost some time ago is what would allow something like this to occur. That's essentially the information we got out of it.
Yeah, it seems very likely to be that thing, but you have not seen the anchor, so that has not been confirmed. This is an assumption that you...
Gotcha. All right, it's our best guess at the situation. That makes sense. I will Sasana, there's a particular kind of red wine, I name it. Would one of your couriers be willing to take it with a note from me to the Lady of Petals' enclave? A request for a meeting? I scribble down a note and like specifically name the red wine, the one with the wax seal, the one with the wax.
Surely I could just cast sending to the lady's attendant who we've met.
I don't know if that would be
Hello.
viewed as an imposition.
Hello, the Sultana and also this person who's been working for the Lady of the Petals would like to speak with her at her convenience instead of... This feels like a long way to be doing things, but again, you're in charge.
Listen, I thought Will would be on board for a little bit more cloak and dagger bullshit.
Will is like very clear in her dislike of working with the Lady of Petals at the best of times.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, let's get this over with. But
And what is
and
more
also,
cloak and
not that
dagger
into
than
cloak and dagger
telepathic?
stuff.
Yeah. Cloak and dagger.
It doesn't fit my aesthetic, Charlie.
Okay, you send the note while Will contemplates sending a sending spell.
I
gonna
won't feel
send- I'm
undercut
gonna send-
if you do this. I
I'm
won't
going to
feel
send a
undercut.
sending spell to someone. It will be unrelated to all of this. I'm going to
That's
send
what
it to
happens
my...
when Jack gets given downtime. Jack's like, I don't have to track spell slots? Fuck it, machine gun.
No, I have used sending every single day of this downtime and while we've been playing at the end of the day. I'm going to sending to the first mate of my previous ship and just ask how things are going. I'm not even going to ask anything related to Blackened Skies, even though there's a very obscure outside chance that he might know something.
I think I did
Just
a
to be like,
voice for this person
You did.
already, and I cannot remember what it was.
I'm not gonna even send a message. You don't need to respond to it in the character. It's just gonna be like, hey, just like, apparently my time is free to send you a thing and see how you're doing. It's very petulant.
Anyways, reeling it back in.
Hold on, I need to take that level 3 spell slot just in case we do done these today.
It doesn't take you very long to receive a return note saying, same place at your leisure.
Fantastic. All right. I'll move us. I'll let everyone know. She has a ship on the docks that we will use as our stepping point to get to the meeting place. Are you all comfortable with coming along and us doing this, or do we want to split up and some of you come with me, and if others of you have an errand to run, like we're going to the grocery store instead of participating in advanced skullduggery?
Will is waiting for the, as is correct, given Will's position, is waiting for the Sultana's response first.
The Sultana will say, I am very busy, unless you think my presence would be required.
No, Your Highness. I would not make such an imposition on you.
I would, of course, like to be updated. We have been talking for several hours already. I do have business.
Will says, perhaps while my companions visit with the Lady of the Petals, I could give you a better report on how the trip to the Gathite tribe went and what we learnt up there.
Of course, I would be happy for your company.
Great. Will do that just to ensure in her own mind that they're not the same person. Just like, that would be impressive.
Okay. So
also, I don't want to
the
be...
4 of you now will travel from the Ruby Palace down to the docks where you had met the Lady of Petals previously. There is another different ship there than the one which Alveron went on the previous time, which again was different from the first one that was there. However, there is still a captain's quarters, and when you approach it and knock, the door is opened to this familiar sort of lounge gambling den, which the Lady of Petals seems to call their home base. So
Assuming
I
he'd be
think-
of marginally
Oh, no,
possible
I
more
think-
use, Sulveran would have
Sorry.
stayed because the reporting and giving a Gathite perspective, because he's going to be equally useless in either location.
Uba definitely came with Alveron. Uba is supervising to make sure Alveron doesn't jump into the sea again.
Medea
I
is going.
swam. Mostly.
Uba also
sank
can't swim,
first.
so Uba won't be able to help you, but they can at least yell at you if you jump in the ocean.
Oh
Medea
no!
is just.
Our swashbuckler! He's drowning!
Medea is going with
TikTok
Alveron
content. I'm so
solely
sorry,
so that
Sara.
Medea is going with Alveron solely so that if something goes wrong, there's more than just Uba and Alveron there.
Okay, so in that case, the 3 characters go to.
It's a good idea for the two of us to have supervision, Sara. I agree.
You enter in. You can again see this. There's the throne room in the back. There's this lounge. There are a couple more people than when Alveron was here last time. Gambling to themselves, or they're making their own noise, but they're kind of keeping themselves. So they're a little bit away. The Lady of Petals is in the same lounge area where you had your discussion. There are some what appears to be smoking apparatuses that they're currently using. There's a slight not fog, but haze in the air from the smoke in the room, which does smell pretty nice, actually. As you walk in and sit down, the Lady of Petals gestures. Their attendant is there, and again, there are the guards in the room. I'm gonna say there's probably like 8 of them or so at different points. This is quite a large room, and again, you're not sure where it's at. There's no windows, although there are several light spells that have a very natural kind of light. It doesn't feel quite as oppressive as it might otherwise.
Is this an increased guard presence from the last time I was there?
There are a couple more guards, but there's just a couple more people in the room in general. You're not sure if the two are correlated.
Okay.
Oh, Alveron. Welcome again.
I
Performed
appreciate
admirably.
you.
How can I be of assistance today?
Well, you flatter me. I am very glad that I was able to uphold our bargain to the extent that I was. I presume with your vast intelligence network, you are aware of the Blackened Skies and Orthrin's, shall we say, ability to move much faster at sea than normal sails would carry him?
I think I have heard of what you are speaking.
I then will only presume to confirm it with first-hand observation. I understand that you and he are to meet when he arrives in port, and I won't presume to make you speak of another business relationship that you have.
Point of order.
I will.
This is my fault, I think. Lady of Stena is not the Lady of Petals.
Oh shit! I completely fucked that up.
People. Although certainly, if Lady Stena is meeting somebody within the city, the Lady of Petals knows.
Okay, my apologies. I thought
That's
I had
okay.
missed something and that Lady Senna had been revealed. That's my apologies. But Lady Senna is to have a meeting with Captain Orthrin. I know that under the arrangement of our old agreement, your networks would no longer take jobs looking for a formerly more hairy rogue. I'm also glad that I'm recognizable, bald and trimmed up. It's good to know, If you show up looking like a cue ball, sometimes people, they get confused.
The hair change is very nice. Your locks, though luscious, perhaps did not suit your face as your current appearance does.
I appreciate that. I was very glad. Usually, sometimes when people shave their heads, their ears just stick out way to the sides, and it seems like a breeze would help them fly away. But
It is a
thankfully,
worse
mine do.
problem for my kind.
I cannot even imagine. But I know our old agreement offered me some protection from the networks of your influence.
Indeed.
I understand that the Blackened Skies is to be bringing a shipment of goods that might be beneficial to you, and I would not want to compromise any profit on your end. I will say that a ship so flashy can't possibly do as good of a job as a more subtle supplier could. Oh, sorry, out of character. Out of character. I'm about to either offer to you make sure that my writ doesn't get applied to her supply ships, because that's how that's going to go one way, or that my ship becomes a supplier, and I have to really make sure that that latter one doesn't happen in the course of this deal. But I want the Blackened Skies sunk. I want it badly. I want to make sure that that ship is at the bottom of the seas, and I want to know that no more young men and women are press ganged like I was.
This is very noble of you, of course, and I would be more than happy to lend what assistance I may to such a valued contact of mine. Am I to understand that you are offering to aid me in the delivery of goods? Should I help you with this pirate issue?
I would want clear terms between us. And I know, oh God, this is going to get, because the Sultana and her have a relationship anyways, but this is expected. If things can be controlled, that's not a bad thing. All right, well, let's see how this goes. I'm not getting it over my head at all. I am swimming fine. What's up, Sara?
Can Medea and Alveron have talked about what Alveron is going to say on the way?
You didn't decide that beforehand, so I don't want to set a precedent for that.
Okay.
You gonna kick me under the table, Medea?
Yeah, Medea's gonna give Alveron a light kick as sort of not don't say this, but more you don't have to agree to this right now, you know.
Good point. I think that I'm in a position to be of value to you with the ship that I have and my ability to pass into port or into other ports under this flag. I'm willing to discuss what you could use my services for, but the destruction of the Blackened Skies is my main thrust. If you have terms, I would love to hear them, and I would love to discuss with you.
It takes a overly long drag, as though forcing you to wait and consider your offer for a moment before blowing the smoke out into the air. Well, that is inordinately generous as an offer. We could discuss your continued employment by myself for a variety of tasks. I could always use a good, sleek ship, especially one with the Uthana's own rite of passage. Equally, I would say that though I know you wish to kill this captain, I would not be opposed to coming into possession of the Blackened Skies should you capture it, I would consider that equally as payment rendered for any advice I do. It is something to
Oh.
consider. Of course, you do not have the ship with you at the moment, so you cannot really offer that right now.
It does give me more options, though. Alveron wants to see that ship burned. I thank you for your time, lady. I have much to consider and not very much time to do so. I hope to call on you again very, very soon if you will have me.
Of course, take your time. Your decision. I do have the information you seek, though. Be aware.
I would assume nothing less, knowing you. And get up. Unless Uba and Medea have anything they want to say.
I think Uba has something that they want to say, but not in front of the Lady of Petals.
Okay.
Yeah, Medea wants to talk to Alveron very badly as soon as they can.
Yeah, we need to have a
wait until
little
they're
chat.
Let's walk through the portal on our way out.
As you stand up to leave, the Lady of Petals, let's say, do be aware that time is ticking. I'll give you that piece of advice for free. Don't wait till tomorrow.
Yep. Thank you, my lady. And then
you all,
as soon as we get through the dimension door, as soon as we get through that little portal, I think that went well.
I think you have something you can offer them you're not considering.
What's that?
The Suthana clearly knows about the Lady of Petals. You don't necessarily have to be their smuggler so much as we could agree that should they need it, the Blackened Sky included other criminal forces that interfere with their operations we can deal with. Seeing as they can't normally call the city guards or police for help with that, Suthana won't mind us cleaning up criminals, and well, that's going to be to their benefit.
That's very true. I've already used the ship in that way before.
Make an insight check, both of you, as you're talking about this.
Yeah.
Just Alveron and Merdia.
Uba, you can make it as well if you like.
Well, we're an insightful bunch, ain't we?
Yes.
Uba's
the high
definitely
wisdom
not.
crowd.
Yeah, that's about right.
This is why one of us always needs to be with them. Charlie, this is our fault.
I mean,
This is
Alveron
on
and
us.
Medea have a +2. It's just bad rolls.
Don't mind Uba. Uba's never been insightful about anything.
I was like, I'm hungry.
I can't believe she didn't serve us any of that wine. You raised a good point, Medea, and I should have considered that. But thankfully, it seems we're welcome back, and we've got plenty of time to make this decision.
There's also the secondary.
About, noon by the time you're doing this.
Medea will also say, there is the secondary option. How much of your money do you have left?
Fair amount. I did give away quite a bit of the prize money to the crew. Wanted to make sure that they stuck around, but a few thousand gold.
That's also a negotiation piece you could do that may leave you with no strings attached.
I doubt she's overly concerned with money. She
That's
has
true.
plenty of money. Favor is what matters to her. At least that's my read on her.
You should, I think, at least Avoid being indebted to her to any kind of smuggling or direct criminal aid.
Yeah, I think Uba's gonna chime in and be like, aren't you concerned about overextending yourself? You represent the Suthana, but the Lady of Petals as well. Not that the Lady of Petals, she's rather interesting, but it seems like working for a ruler and also a criminal mastermind might not be complementary jobs.
I don't like it either, and I don't. That's why I was more nervous in there. I think Medea is right that it's much better to allow her to point the ship in a direction at people she wants destroyed rather than being her ferry boat. Yeah.
And perhaps we can also offer a secondary place as, well, a more neutral ear to the Suthana. That means you won't commit to anything, but it means perhaps if both of them have interests in mind, you can act as an ear to make it happen.
I think you raise a good point, Medea.
Meanwhile, in the palace. Cutting back to Will and Sulveran. You guys are still talking, of course, as you're heading back. Will, the Suthana never leaves your sight. Take that for what you will. She's very interested in what you have to say about the Gathite and how that meeting went. And she also asks for your input on several minor matters of state and sorts of things. I'm sure are more than happy to help out with.
Yes, I give impeccable advice. My advice is great.
Presuming Sulveran has asked for advice, his advice is very unusual for an Elkaran to hear.
After you've kind of finished this conversation, the Suthana will say to the two of you, I know this business is very important to Alveron, but do try not to damage the city in any significant way in the process of accomplishing your goals, so to say. I'm willing to send guards and whatever mundane aid that you might require for.
It certainly would not be my preference to tear up large swathes of Tal'Anfagon in dealing with this. I'm not sure the others have quite the same reticence. Uber probably does. But also, Uber's probably aware of the amount of damages they might have to pay now that they're a lord.
Of course.
I mean, it would be easy if we just knew where the ship was. And then we could just be done with this and move on to the more important things.
Yes. I highly doubt that the captain is so stupid as to bring such a recognizable ship into the port, though. If they are coming into the city, not to imagine that they are going to be docking particularly close to us.
And if they have casters of the ability that Alveron seemed to note, then they can probably find Alveron really at any time.
Locating a creature which you are aware of is not easy, but it is not difficult either.
And while he has some protections against this, the rest of us do not.
Most certainly, and Alveron is well known in the city now. It'd throw a banquet in your honor, after all.
And Alveron's deal to not be bounty hunted does not extend to people not selling information about his whereabouts.
This is also true.
How much do you think that information's worth?
Depends on how much the captain is willing to pay. know of this man, but how valuable Alveron is to them, I could not tell you. Most
What if we-
most people, I don't think, would try to go against the Lady of Petals, but coin does speak.
Maybe the best we can hope for is to arrange a location that the captain can arrive to, which is advantageous to us.
Yes, this would be a good idea.
If I were this captain, and I were not
Good.
frightened of you, Suthana, and not overly concerned about the Lady of Petals, I think I would easily track Alveron to that temple. And he just pauses for a long moment before he looks at Will, threatening the clerics there would surely bring Alveron running.
Mm.
You know more of pirates and sea folk than I. Is that something that this man might do?
Seems very... I don't know that even a man like the captain of the Blackened Skies would be willing to take that risk. What if we found a warehouse that we arranged with all manner of traps, and we could... Will's thinking it through and is like, and remembers that he could see the sensor for the scrying, and like that probably doesn't work. Well, the benefit of somebody else taking the mantle of captain is that I don't have to make any of these decisions.
It is a good plan, especially if you can get this Lady Stenna to work with you and prearrange a location. That's your own business.
Being indebted to
Saga.
someone such as that is not my preference, but Will kind of shrugs.
Jumping back over the others, you guys are by this point in time back at the Ruby Palace. Maybe still in discussion, maybe not, but you hopefully find Will, Sulveran, the Suthana going over some papers in Suthana's kind of office space.
Well, the lady appears to have the information we need. She knows where, and we got when for free tomorrow. But of course, there's going to be a price to the information. I quickly go through and reiterate, the ship and our closeness to the Sultana. I just kind of have a moment and just look at the sun and just, I am going to speak candidly and freely at this point, under the assumption that you're no stranger to how she operates. And just go through, she knows that I'm an asset, she knows that I have the writ, and somehow that needs to be leveraged, either through services or through delivery of the Blackened Skies itself. Though notably, delivering her the Blackened Skies did not include delivering the anchor, and the anchor is something I don't think is negotiable. That's a holy artifact, and that needs to go back to the church. And he kind of stops himself when he realizes he's almost talking like he's a ranking member of the church, which he isn't, but kind of feels a little more closely tied to it than he has since he was, working in the rectory. So just blunders past that and just keeps going and explains, probably by tonight, I need to present a deal or an offer to her, and she knows where and when we need to be.
I think You should discuss it with Will and Sulveran if possible before you strike any deal. But
I
you
agree.
should
This
make
is
the
what's
decision
happening.
by the end of
You guys are there. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does the Suthana have response to Alveron first? Will is very diplomatic in letting her respond first. If
you are welcome to do. The ship was a gift. You may do with it what you will. I cannot, however, guarantee that the crew I selected for you would be as willing to, on an extended basis, do criminal activities. Most of them were in the Navy, and well, I had them picked on the basis of hunting pirates.
Yes.
Do you think they'd be fine hunting pirates, even if it's for other pirates? And would you object to that?
Well, I don't think we can assume that the Lady of Petals is going to only have you hunt pirates, and I think it would be very foolish indeed to assume that having made this deal, you can then choose when to and when not to work for them.
Yeah.
Do I misunderstand you, Alveron? You intend to yoke yourself to a warlord?
Warlord is an interesting
Will
choice
laugh,
of
it's-
but
word.
it's like a Gathite rumble laugh.
The Suthana also.
Oh yeah, of course you don't know these words in common.
Yeah, he looks, as he's saying it, he's looking at Will, and he's...
There's no word for criminal mastermind in Gathite.
We would...
Because why would you need that? They
Yeah.
don't have criminals, and they don't have masterminds.
In the Gathite's favor, I should say.
Gathite slander occurring here. Damn.
But yeah, Sulveran...
I've met Young Crow, so I'm allowed to do it. That's legally where Uber's also allowed to.
But yeah, Sulveran is just staring Alveron down, and he honestly and genuinely looks perplexed. I think I am misunderstanding something.
I need Orthrin dead. And I need to know that the Blackened Skies can't be used the way it has been. I don't want to yoke myself to anyone
We could
with
always
any
do
bond
this.
other than this.
Then I would say that your best bet is this Lady Stenna, if you are not willing to deal with the Lady of Petals. Or we can try to scry and attempt to locate them on our own with the means available to us. But,
Lady Senna is the fencer. Am I
yes,
better
Lady
remembering
Stenna
it now?
is a fence, a goods fence.
Yeah.
Normally operating in the north, but they came down here for a reason which they did not tell you.
I did have a thought that if they seem dead set on having you, which they do for whatever reason, perhaps it's because you're sea touched, perhaps it's just a pride thing, perhaps you carry something.
There was a point I was confused about. If they need Alveron, why did they not do battle with the ship?
We had a little bit of an upper hand at the moment when we rammed and we're ready to board. But if they'd wanted to, they could have just focused, I guess, on overwhelming, bringing me aboard and teleporting away.
Yes, this is my thought.
I think Will interrupts the Suthana because she had a moment of oh wait, I connected two things that should have connected earlier. Alveron, you said something in one of your sendings about the captain needing to acquire some things before meeting you again.
Sounded like He was collecting items of some sort.
And who would be the most likely person in Tal'Anfagon to have acquired those items?
A fence.
It's his fence. I will answer for the room. It's his fence. So,
Thank you, Will.
Thank you. If we'd had a
Yes.
scroll, we might have gotten that before you, but
Will says, maybe it is best if you have to do something, given your need for dealing with the Blackened Skies, and you're willing to go to whatever lengths, maybe the length you should go to is to deal with the Lady Stenna, either through your natural charm and what you have to offer, or through abduction and taking of her things. You're not going to harm her, any more than certainly the captain might after having recovered powerful artifacts, and it will draw him to where you want him to be. And weaken him.
I think that Uba is going to nod very sagely and say it's definitely easier to threaten people than to work for a criminal mastermind.
That's going to bring Stenna's and Petal's peoples on us as well, but that may turn this into a 3-way fight rather than a 2-way.
The Lady Stenna is not notably connected to the Lady of the Petals, right?
no, not that I'm tracking.
That we're aware of.
That you're aware of, no.
Yeah.
Lady Stenna knew of the Lady of Petals, was able to tell Alveron that much, but
is also not a Tal'Anfagon. She doesn't.
Yeah, she's not.
Yeah,
this isn't
Lady
her seat
Stenna
of power.
is a human from somewhere in Oman or Malden. You're not sure where, but
Sulveran's going to clear his throat at Medea's point. True. So the worst case scenario there is a 2 or 3-way fight in which perhaps we die, or Alveron is kidnapped for nefarious means. And the other alternative is becoming that which you are currently hunting, is it not, Alveron? You do not fight the direwolf by joining its pack.
You might hunt them better by wearing their skin.
Alright, let's. If we have access to 5.
I should have probably made a wisdom
Besides
check to see if I
pirate
was able to get
skins.
that quip off, but I'm just going to run with it.
I just said nefarious with Sulveran, you're fine.
It's fair. We're translating.
We can also, as I said, you could speak to the Lady Stenna. You could offer her a financially beneficial deal. I'm sure the Blackened Skies and its crew have many artifacts that we might otherwise sell onward. Perhaps they become gifts to your former friend, and hopefully current friend.
They also always have the option of taking this the hardest way and simply using scrying and tracking them down without taking any deals.
Sarah, say that one more time. You cut off.
Oh, sorry. We always have the option to take the hardest route, I suppose, which is to take no deals with these people and simply track them down using what resources we have now.
I mean, if we could track down that meeting with Orthrin and Stenna, either she'd probably be going to the ship, or I don't know if he'd risk coming to land. He rules through fear. That's how he operates. He rules through fear. And he needs people to fear him in order for him to have power. I don't think Stenna... No, she's smart enough to be afraid of him, but I don't know if she fears him with the kind of ice in your heart that he expects from his crew. But she wouldn't trust him. She never did. trust us when I worked with her.
Well, the worst I suppose you could do is speak with this person, ask that they not reveal your location to the captain.
I think it's not the worst idea, though I have no doubt in my mind that she'll sell the information to Orthoron as soon as she meets him, unless it is truly vastly beneficial to her to do otherwise. But I do think it's worth it. Susana, do you know where about in the city we could find her? I know we ran into her on accident when I ran into her in whatever part of the city it was. But I don't know if she's taken up rooms, if she's taken up residence.
I should be able to have my people locate her relatively shortly. There are few enough humans staying in the city, and few are still dealing in such activities.
We thank you yet again.
Right. So
yeah, I guess that's the plan going forward. With meeting her, I guess she's a fence, flips goods. She's probably got, as Will pointed out, she's got stuff for Orthoron. If we can convince her to hold back on those at all. Okay.
You then, unless somebody else wants to do something, you wait for about an hour or so before the Susanna again has some business to take care of, so they'll take their leave. But for too long, somebody comes and finds you and says, we have come to understand that the Lady Senna is staying at the Desert Rose Inn in the merchant district of the city, not too far from the gardens where we understand met with her previously. We did not approach. We assumed that you perhaps better be the first to see them. Unless you would like them subdued and brought here. We have people who can do such things.
I know Sulveran is just getting that cackle going on. I think maybe a more finessed approach would be, thank you for your restraint. You will not need to bother with restraints. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Good, of course. Thank you. You need anything else? We are to serve.
Sorry. During that hour, give me 1 second. I need to read a spell. It's a spell scroll, so I need to make sure that because it doesn't have the duration. Click, click, click. I assume that this has a day because it's a weird aura thing. 24 hours, great. During that hour, Will pulls out a scroll and says to Alveron, can I cast a thing on you?
What's the thing?
It'll just, if somebody tries to find you through divination, you'll look like you used to before you did this to your face. And maybe in that final moment where they see you, it will be enough of a distraction to get some kind of advantage.
Maybe your ugly mug will...
I was going to say, like, Alveron was just listening along and said, what thing to my face? Do you not like it? Not.
I don't, no. But I'm not in charge of your head. Obviously, because I wouldn't have allowed it. I'll cast a spell, hopefully.
Is it bald people? Is it bald people in general, or is it just you don't like it on?
Sulveran's barely got any hair. Most Gathite don't have any hair.
Just on the heads, or?
I don't know. I've never had the occasion to look deeper.
Wow.
Yeah, so I
You
cast
don't cast, yeah, whatever.
Magic Aura,
Okay,
which should roll.
Magic Aura.
Did it come up?
I didn't see it yet. Asking.
I don't have
spell
one
maybe.
left, so it must have.
It came in. It came up for me. Got a
Basically,
24.
I'm using
there
Mark.
should have been a. Oh, are you talking about the
Oh,
roll or
no.
the spell?
No, there should have been a spell output, but it
Oh,
didn't
yeah,
do it.
that's
I'll
what I
try
was
it one more time. Go to work out which thing to. Basically, it uses the mask section to make Alveron look like Alveron with a beard and hair.
Right.
Because if somebody has scryed on him and sees that, I want in that moment where we would roll initiative, them to be shocked enough to have disadvantage on that roll. I can't get it to output for whatever reason.
That's fine. It just
The
changes to,
hope being that it's
I
like,
think I remember
wow,
Blackfoot.
he was bad before, but
Well, it's just like maybe that's not Alveron. Like that moment of hesitation.
This is a new low, even for you, Alveron.
find that L'Oreal-looking motherfucker. Where's Mr. Clean?
Wait.
Why is...
Wait, why does he look like a disgusting lizard?
Wow.
That was out of
First
character.
of all, I have eczema, and I will not be treated in...
That's very funny.
Alveron has
I
like
need to go
luscious
refill my
hair,
water.
but underneath it's all like disgusting scalp. Just not
Just
taken care of whatsoever.
Listen, I've been bathing in salt water for 15 years, okay? It doesn't do good things for your complexion.
Okay. So I would assume that you guys head over towards the Desert Rose Tavern. Desert Rose Inn to find Lady Stena. You walk over there very swiftly, crossing the river, heading up. It is on the north side of the city where you haven't gone to too much because you just haven't had cause to, other than the one time you went to the gardens, just because you wanted to have to go that way. You find it in the merchant district. It's a nicer part of the city, very middle class, a lot more transient people, so a lot more foreigners, a lot, more of a mixed crowd than the almost purely Elkar that you'll see in some of the districts. Walking into the inn, it is a very warm atmosphere, kind of cheerful. There's a luthier strumming in the corner, just playing some nice, not overly loud or in your face music, just kind of some background. Looking about, you do see Lady Stena propped up against a corner near to the currently empty fireplace. They are nursing a glass of what seems to be wine. They do notice you coming in, eyes going slightly wide, but they don't say anything for the moment.
Just as soon as we see them and know that we're made, I'm just going to start walking towards her in the fireplace. Is there an open seat nearby?
There are 3 open chairs at her table and several more you could grab from by one.
Perfect. I'll walk up and... Lady Stena, wonderful, as always, to see you. I hope that you're well. Are these seats taken?
I'll help yourself. I'm assuming that you will. I told you where.
Well, I wouldn't want to be discourteous. And then I'll sit down. I don't know if the rest of you were going to sit down or not, but I'm fit.
Uba runs to the bar to get a drink first, and then we'll rejoin you. Because Uba's like, I might need to drink to make it through this one.
Priorities. I like it.
Will catches Uba's eye and implies that Will would also like a drink, and will go sit down at the table so as to hear all of the conversation.
Medea takes a seat normally.
Isn't
I
the
like
rest
the
of us
idea
doing it
that
abnormally?
slightly implies that sometimes Medea just like Rikers into a chair.
Yeah,
That's
that's what I
exactly
was
what I was
thinking.
thinking.
I believe it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
It's more difficult
Sulveran
because you're
just-
not nearly as tall.
And chairs are not built that way in this world. They're like probably high back.
He's doing the full hurdle every time.
Medea's
you-
wings unfurl for every sit down.
Yeah, that's what they fly up just to do it. As you all take a seat, Uba, you go and begin ordering a couple drinks. You can take off like I'll say a gold. You people like fancy enough sorts of things. You can certainly afford it.
I feel like we're being typecast just because we like very, very fancy lattes.
Well, why are you going to pay for cheap alcohol when you got the money for better ones?
This is true. I
So,
honestly mean it when I say I don't mean to be discourteous, and I don't want to ruin your day by being here. But you know the business I have with Orthwood. You know that I want him
yes.
dead. I know that you have business with Orthorin of a more mercantile, shall we say, nature.
Less deadly.
Oh, we can talk about whether or not the things he fences through you or the things you provide through him don't have a stamp of death on them, but I'm not here to pass morality on business. That's not my goal. I have come to the persuasion that this time around, he's buying something from you. Some things that he wants or needs quite badly.
Yes, I have been contracted, as I mentioned, by the Blackened Skies to secure artifacts on Captain's behest. I was paid very handsomely to do so.
I can only imagine from what I know of the Blackened Skies coffers what they must have paid for you to consider it to be so handsome. And
I must say, somewhat surprised that you did not take the opportunity to leave, go somewhere else after I had explained to you the captain would be coming.
I want him dead a lot more badly than I want to run, Lady Senna. And
So then you've come to me to the meeting.
that's part of it. But I think that potentially there's a different arrangement that could be made here. I have a ship, and I have a writ of privateering that allows me to hunt him. It enables me to hunt him quite well. He has access to something that makes pinning him down. Well, he's a hard man to find anchored, shall we say. I think that there's an arrangement that could be made here. He's paid you handsomely. He's rewarded you well, and I have no doubt that you have earned every single coin that he's paid you and that he owes you still. I also imagine that there are things that he was not willing to part with to you, things that would be incredibly valuable to you were you able to get them. The Blackened Skies has always had a penchant for keeping its coffers full of things that no captain would let go of if he was still breathing.
So, what is it that you are offering me? I gave you the advice last time for free. But if I'm to interrupt my business so heavily, and there's no guarantee you'll win.
No guarantee. However, I don't honestly believe that if Ortharin doesn't have the things that he needs, he'll be able to succeed. And I don't believe at all for a moment that with the information that you could give me and any advantage you could give me in this, he stands a chance. I have no need for the items on his ship. The only thing I care about at this point really is making sure that the anchor is returned to the church that it belongs to. Anything else in his treasury, I care about. And I'd much rather see it in your hands.
I'm not so sure you would say that again after having seen what Ortharin has obtained. So the offer then is this: I can have whatever treasure is aboard the ship as after you defeat the captain.
How many artifacts did you procure for him?
Myself, I procured only one thing for him, although I know that he has at least two other things which you would want. So I'll take one of those off the table, assuming that we go through with this at all, which I'm still not sold on. The thing in my possession currently, you probably will also want. So I able to take that. More to the point, I don't want it. It's not useful to me other than to sell to somebody else. I would rather, if we are to go through with such a thing, that you purchase it from me. That way I still have a guaranteed sale.
I'd be willing to look at that. How, and Alveron is just very quickly thinking through how much equity he has in the ship and whether or not you can do a reverse mortgage on a 3-sailed, 2-mast. But not going to worry about that. What are we talking ballpark?
15,000 gold.
I don't know if the mic picked it up. That was my butthole whistling. Is it?
You have the ear of the Suthana, I'm sure that you find the necessary funds. And
Absolutely.
it is not very much more than what the captain had offered me.
Okay. I'm thinking to myself, I can probably at the least I can probably raise enough to do half up front. If I take all of my gold and beg a little off of the Sultana to make it whole, with the promise that more like shares of prize go directly to the Sultana's coffers. So I can do that. I can put up at least half.
Is this internal monologue?
Yeah, this is journal.
Okay,
I'm just
wanna
thinking through,
clarify.
like, do I have the ability? Can I come up with a plan? Because I'm not trying to drain anyone else's resources. I want to I want to make sure that no one is getting screwed on this. So I can.
Uba would have returned as only after hearing 15,000 gold pieces.
Yeah, Uba is like, what is this about 15,000 gold? Is that something for us?
Something I have to come up with. Look.
For what?
The item that Lady Senna has procured for Captain Ortharan, that's the value to make sure that he doesn't get it.
I think that Uba is passing out drinks to everyone, including Lady Stenna. They bought a drink for Lady Stenna that says, must be quite the powerful item.
Yes.
Certainly to some.
What? And I presume you won't tell us what it is until it's been bought?
I can tell you that it has to do with the sea.
Will visibly rolls her eyes. It's like, well, that's ridiculous.
Mhm.
The deal also would then be that, I could have you waiting for the captain at our location, which has yet to be given out to Otheran, so he would have no way of knowing be there instead of me. Of course, I would do this mainly to save myself. I could not simply sell this to you and then not expect retribution.
No. But if I have the drop on Orthoran and the ability to take the Blackened Skies, you won't need to worry about retribution, and there won't be anyone around to know that you've at all compromised a deal. I also imagine that business with Orthoran hasn't gotten less dangerous than it was back in the day.
No, and I should suspect that this would be our last piece of business for some time. And if I am to move on to other endeavors, well, as I've said before, I do like you, Alveron, certainly more than Otheran and his crew.
Sulveran just like sending or is going thinking about sending, and then he realizes he has to do that out loud. That it's like a full on spell, and he's just like waiting for Will.
Yeah,
And
Will
he just
looks at Sulveran.
and he's just looking at her very intensely, like, surely there's a possible plan in here. But
Will,
they're in
like,
public, so he can't say anything.
Will intimates in like volumes, like a four book novel series about like how interesting this interaction is as the person not in charge.
Oh my god.
With like one eyebrow and like a slight shrug.
Well, I don't have that kind of money just sitting on me, obviously. But I don't doubt the value and importance of this item. I can get you half up front of the item's cost, I know for a fact, and put that down as a payment down in good faith in order to secure Orthrin's, your spot in the meeting with Orthrin, and knowledge that I have the rest of the money coming. I can secure that by end of day.
Make a persuasion check.
Okay.
I feel like my silence makes it really difficult to give you advantage.
Yeah, probably.
And I also probably could have given you Bardic Inspiration at some point.
Well, too
And
late
I
now.
Just realizing that
There's
in
no
my
way to, like-
addled brain, the things I
There's
forgot.
no way to like kick
throw
me
with
under
the
the table and
bunches.
throw a bless on it.
Hang on. Let me try and get my brain into like a place where I can find a Bardic Inspiration for you. I think Will says more to Sulveran, like as an aside that's loud enough for the whole table. There's no guarantee this heartless pirate captain's not going to kill her when he finishes his business. And I will give either Bardic Inspiration or advantage. I don't.
I think it's more of an advantage.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can have advantage. I'll accept that.
We'll roll that.
That advantage helped you out there. Helped you out a lot.
Helped out quite a bit. Just nod knowingly at Will. Thank you.
If you can get it to me by end of day, then we have a deal. The meeting is supposed to be tomorrow in the morning. I will need the gold no later than midnight tonight. Or it can be in forms of gems, whatever payment is your preference.
I think that Uba's gonna pop up and say, "Oh, gems, you say," and is gonna turn their bag of holding upside down on the table, and you just hear the sound of like marbles falling, and there's just like a pile of gems. And Uba's like, "Is that enough?"
I full on spit take because Alveron has no fucking clue where all this came from, and you just went, "Oh yeah, I own Tiffany's."
I think
Well-
Will reacts far quicker. And can I start trying to haggle the cost of these the value of these gems up?
Sure, you could. I think that would also be probably a persuasion check.
It's like, oh, I remember this one. It was originally inlaid into a golden scepter. And,
What is
Ugh.
the?
Let's go see.
Remind me, Uba. What is the value that you have of these gems?
11K.
Okay. Yeah. Uba's just been taking all the gems and hoarding them. The lady now like looks at Uba like, maybe I'm talking to the wrong person. Looks at the gems, hears what like Will's kind of going over each one as Lisa is thinking. Well, this is certainly, I'm no jeweler, and your friend, of course, is sucking it up, but this is at least half I should expect. Even just a few of these, probably 7,500. I can accept this as a down payment. I'll have these appraised later, and we can work out the difference.
I'm just sitting there thinking about it. All right, I was gonna do a reverse mortgage. Got this, and then Uba's just like, just looking at
Just, like,
Uba. It's
starts-
just
the absolute worst part of that is that Uber still has more money than all of us. Like
Yeah.
after that 11,000, Uber definitely still
that
has
was
more
just
money
the
than all
gems.
of us.
There's more on there. Some enchanted weapons, all sorts of stuff.
we've
You-
all heard the joke about like Bill Gates, like as a tip, just pays people's student loans off.
I know, right?
Like that's what just happened. I just got Gates.
Alfred says to you, Will, wait, how come I don't have that many gems? Where are you putting all your money?
Will like pats a coin purse, but did also put money into Alfred when we went through Twinport because it's evil. That place is where money goes to die.
Don't forget
Will,
me
like,
should you need
telepathically-
to store this artifact.
Will telepathically responds, do you have a 15,000 gold artifact that we could have that will help us in a fight against a magic-wielding pirate king?
No, I don't.
That's why I don't put gems in you. But Will, I think, will drop like some she has 2 platinum pieces. She drops the pouch that's in into it. And, like, just play with this for a moment.
New coin. The bag goes silent.
Idiot.
I was planning on meeting with Otheran at the docks. Haven. Citizens of Solid. There's a warehouse there where I am keeping the artifact. Since you have paid half up front already, I suppose you what it is hitting. It is an orb, an enchanted orb, some impressive power. Supposedly it works in conjunction with the anchor and a sword currently in Sulveran's possession. Supposed to give you mastery of the seas. On its own, the orb, well, it doesn't do terribly much. You can use it to control beasts of the ocean, even such great things as dragon turtles. This is impressive, of course, but well, the teleporting ships and such things is a bit more flashy. Say. That's what I know about it.
The warehouse in Haven at the docks. Got it. What's this sword of his? Because I didn't see anything the last time I saw Ortharin, right?
No, but he didn't pull out a sword or anything. Unless you remember, he had an enchanted weapon, but you don't remember there being anything special beyond like a base level enchantment about it. Most of the officers of the Blackened Skies you would know have some magical equipment.
Right.
I did not procure the sword for him, although last we met he had it in his possession. It looked incredibly powerful. It was only at that point that his eyes began to glow green. I can only speculate.
Shade of
Its
green.
property. A verdant green. Wicked, you could say. Seemingly not the color of poison, I would say, were I got to know better.
Could I potentially make an Arcana check?
Yes, anybody who would like to can make an Arcana or a History check. It's very, very difficult.
Is it so difficult as this 27 I'm about to roll is not good enough? Do I need to get better than this 27? That's a
That
disappointing
16 is
16.
not high enough, unfortunately.
I like that my two expertises I've just rolled a 5 and a 6 for.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's about right.
So close.
Will, you're like thinking, you can't remember like a sword that turns your eyes green, but it might explain like how he's able to do.
Wait, I'm
something.
gonna use my inspiration.
Okay, you use your inspiration.
All right. You're a garbage die.
Jesus.
I kind of knew that was going to happen, but I think that Will is never going to be more invested in something than this. Like, what's coming up? A fight for our lives? Who needs that?
So seeing Will struggle so deeply to recall something, Sulveran just begins engaging her like in conversation about what he knows she knows, and you can take my inspiration too.
Oh my god!
We'll throw good
What,
dice after bad.
This is all.
You can't
Yeah,
double burn them like
Damn.
that, unfortunately.
I like the idea that all of our trauma of returning home like culminated in this moment, and then I was going to roll a 1 on the next one.
Yeah.
That would have probably. Oh Jesus!
We need to know. All right.
I will also say, be on your guard. The abilities of the Blackened Sky have only increased since you left, so I know you have improved as well.
I think that Uba has like their hand up, like they're in class.
Yes, purveyor of fine gems.
Uba smiles at that, but says, do you know what he may use these items for? Particularly something that controls the creatures of the sea. That seems strange to me. I don't know.
I can only speculate. I know that he had to put down a bit of a crew uprising in recent months, because some toward the Blackened Skies are under the impression that he had gone mad. And perhaps he was always mad and gotten worse of late. But I do know that he claimed that soon he will have mastery of all the seas and will be forever known as the greatest pirate who ever lived.
Uba nods in like acknowledgement, but is also mentally thinking like, is there any possible way I can avoid going on a boat? Because this sounds bad.
I also know he mentioned capturing a ship several times. It seemed important, but I'm not on the crew. So
Capturing a particular ship?
yes, I do not know its name though. They were careful enough not to let that much slip.
How long ago did he speak of capturing a ship?
It must have been 2 months. I had met him only a few weeks before I ran into you, Alveron. Not that long, I don't think, after you had escaped. He seemed fairly irate about that.
Alveron just kind of sits there, is just taking this all in, and
If
go ahead.
you wouldn't mind, you could make it sound like you killed me for this information. That would be nice, just in case.
Well, I feel like that might require a new deal. You should have really made that part of the first one.
Well, I've only told you about a warehouse. I haven't told you where it is.
Just kind of, I lean over and kick Will under the table. Just not hard, but just like
Will doesn't appreciate being kicked at any strength.
And I
that.
would consider that
But I'll also
a favor for a favor. I did, after all, tell you for free about the bounties and the Lady of Petals.
I have no issue with Orthoran thinking that you are dead. I don't have any desire for any more blood to be spilled on his account than is necessary.
So if we fail, then this is the end of your current identity and business and connections?
Yes.
I just take a drink and it wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah, that is his life. My business with Alveron, as I said, was mostly concluded anyways. And paid me a considerable sum, which I could easily escape and live off of for so many years.
Sulveran just looks so bewildered by this that he just sits back and resumes drinking. Like, this is not his conversation.
Strange that you find it unusual to have uprooted your whole life and leave an identity behind. But Will says,
Clap back.
Will
Sulveran just like drink to Will's drink.
Yeah.
And I just look over at someone. By the way, I've been meaning to ask what happened with the whole family thing. We'll talk later.
Can I ask? I just want to ask if she has a method of like non-detection, because they could just spry her and see that she's alive.
Oh, I would be a terrible broker if I did not have protections from divination. People would pay me to find things and then just pry their way to me and take them.
And no mundane means from this not particularly clandestine meeting?
Only my skills and the fact that no one that works for Orthoran would know to look here.
Well,
I'll make sure that the rest of the money is deposited into your. Do you have an account here in the city?
Oh no, I don't deal with banks. Should you be successful, I will reach out, but don't expect to find me here again. tomorrow.
Kind of incline my head. Does anyone else have anything they want from her before we get the name of the warehouse? And then
Do you sell any spell scrolls? Have you found any of those in your fencing?
I have a very many. If you're interested in other magical artifacts, I'm not exactly a merchant, but there are goods I come across which I purchase for such occasions as this. Certainly, spell scrolls. What? Do you have some more direction? Are you looking to destroy, or perhaps I have one which you might be interested in, a scroll of teleport?
Well, do I actually? I should ask you this. I should have asked you this at some other point. Do I have advantages from having cast a spell from a scroll before? Does it get easier each time?
Yes. Sure. I'll say if you've cast it before, you can have advantage.
Cool. Then Will says, "Well, I am always interested in teleportation, but I was thinking I gotta actually find not Anya's voice. Give me a second. I was actually thinking about yes, maybe something a bit more destruction based. What with our endeavors."
Well, I do have a rather devastating piece of magic if you think you're able to afford it. For a scroll, I would charge you 2,000 gold pieces.
Could you give me more information than the price, like the kind of scroll I may be able to naturally cast that spell?
Of course. Forgive me.
Magic missile.
I could give you a scroll of incendiary cloud. Powerful conjuration magic.
2,000 gold. We'll kind of look from Sulveran to Uba. I suppose either of you have a spare, roughly most of 2,000 gold lying around.
Sulveran just immediately passes her his coin purse, which contains
Not 2,000 gold.
1,128 and one
electrum. That's going to push us over the limit.
Yes, it is.
You say 1,100?
Yeah.
Will does some quick maths and looks at Uber and says, "Can I borrow around 400 gold, Uber?
Uba
I'll pay you a good interest rate."
Uba looked mildly annoyed for a second, but then was like, "Oh, interested. We'll give you 400 gold."
Great.
Yeah, mildly annoyed
I have
with Will, who paid for all of Uba's things, but drops.
I'm pretty sure Sulveran's plus Will's plus 400 is extremely close. I missed the tens digit of what you said.
Close enough. They will reach down into a bag of holding and pull out the scroll and down on the table, slide over the coins, which they scoop up along with the gems into the bag of holding. Pleasure doing business for you. You can find the warehouse, and they will give you a very specific location.
Will looks down at a spell that I will never roll well enough to cast. I will fail this roll 1,000% of the time.
All right. You guys, is there anything that you're going to want to do before we just cut to you guys in the warehouse?
Can we take a break first?
Yeah, we're going to take a break, but that's why I want to make sure we have everything out of the way before we get to the because the second half I would prefer if it was just the fight end, pre-fight banter.
I think I'm
no, I don't have anything to do.
Okay.
Is it the next day? Are we getting it? Is there a long rest, or is it today?
It will be the very
Okay.
next morning, or early in the
I'd-
morning. Long enough to get a long rest, though.
Can I have someone in my group? What do you call it? Minerva have like air or aerial view over the warehouse while we're there.
Sure, they're not going to be able to do anything unless you blow the roof off,
Yeah.
but they can be around.
Yeah, just literally to see if like they end up running out or escape. We have somebody who can like keep an eye out.
Sure. Okay. With that, we will go to a break. I am going to show the players the map ahead of time so that they'll position themselves as they choose. But yeah, I'm going to do 15 minutes.
Okay.
You all back here. Just a minute. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Session 8. Sorry, Chapter 2, Session 8. So I've shown the players the map. They're kind of looking at it, been thinking about it. You can arrive there. I mean, they gave you the instructions. You could get there and long rest there if you like, so you can have an ample amount of time in this place. But by ample, it's basically like 10-ish hours or so.
Yeah.
There's racks with lots of stuff. You think they probably Lady Stena chose this spot because it was easy to hide one small thing in there. And when you do go there, you follow Lady Stena's instructions to find this orb. It is a small. It almost seems to be made out of like glass, but it's not like perfect glass. It's almost like it's been rubbed away naturally over time. It's got like the smooth feel of like a stone or a piece of glass that's been on the shore for a really long time and getting worn away. It is a crystal blue color, and you feel as though there's water wrapped at the center of it. It's on the inside, so not the sort of sphere that's been weathered away. There does seem to be the image of the waves breaking onto the shore, and you can see some seaweed and whatnot in there, kind of artistically done. Casting detect magic or something like that would reveal that this is indeed a very powerful item. You want to identify it. It does seem to have the properties that Lady Stena listed, and you do get the sense that it is meant to, or at least could be, used in conjunction with other items. But basically, this orb would allow you to speak with any underwater sea creatures, and you could attempt to control them. They would get some wisdom saving throws and whatnot. The specifics won't come up here, so I'll send you the full thing in between sessions. But unless you're planning on talking to some fish right now. That's the main
I do
thing
just
it
want to
does,
ask.
is the talking with the sea creatures and control over them.
Andrew, the blue pendant with waves in it that Priestess Naina gave to Alveron, are they a similar color, or is it just kind of coincidental?
No, they're very similar. It's a common motif for Similis. You would not. It does seem to be connected to God, at least in some way.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, we are going with the putting it into Will's sack of consternation.
Yeah. Can I have a conversation with my bag of holding about? And it's like, all right, we're gonna put this orb inside you. But you have to give it back, or I will just blow you up with another bag of holding. But I'll try and replace it with some gems, if we find any, from the corpses of those we're about to kill.
I will hold you to that word. Gratefully accept this gift. Magical.
I did not enjoy that. That's the wrong voice. But then I think we'll like pry up a floorboard or something and stow it under there with her tinker tools. So it's like even more hidden.
Easy enough to do.
If everyone dies, Will doesn't want this to get in the hands of the captain anyway, although admittedly that won't stop it.
Wait. Can you tell someone where I am? So dark.
Will is saddened by the fact that telepathic link remains, because
it does seem to fade as you walk away.
Yes.
Don't leave.
Great. So did we come here the night before and then we did a long rest? Is that what
I think that
Alveron was
makes sense
pitching? All right, then Will would have sent last night to Kala, hey,
might die.
Hey, we had to rush back to help Alveron with the things. So I'm back into Tal'Anfagon. Things have been very hectic. I haven't had the ability to save a spell to let you know. If I die, I hid my bag of holding under this exact warehouse. And then it cuts off. And then if Kala doesn't respond, Will send again anyway, but we'll wait for a response to that because.
Wait, what? Is this a Kala or Killa?
Kala,
Eternal
not
Constellation.
Kala.
You, um, which warehouse? I think your sending ran out. You're usually much better with words.
And then immediately Kala gets another sending that's like, oh, sorry, this warehouse, it's just been a busy day. But otherwise, you can start making your way back, and I'll see you soon.
Okay, we will return shortly. Been very pleasant with you.
Good.
Thanks for
I can't say good. I forgot how sending works.
You say it out loud, or you say it to yourself, and you're like, "Oh wait."
Yeah, well, good.
Okay.
That's how this magic that I use works.
Did you guys want to set traps, and if so, what would they be? You don't have any traps on your person. Farther away.
If we do a rest, Sulveran could totally do a glyph of warding.
Okay.
With like an explosive rune. Though he would consult with Will in the best way to place and set this up to prevent issues, and he'd be smart enough to set a condition on it that nobody of a good alignment could accidentally set it off. And then he'd ask her for further advice. Like, he expects her to be like an explosives expert. And as he's starting to ask her, then he like turns to Uba and he's like, or perhaps this is something more of your wheelhouse.
Will thinks it would be fascinating to let Uba make these decisions.
I think that Uba might attempt to help with that. I don't know what type of role that would be, but Uba might
just
try.
pick where it gets placed, I think.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, it's just
okay.
It's just great because asking Uba to set up an explosive is, funny.
I think
and Sulveran and them are like a dangerous duo now.
So this is the radius of Glyph of Warding.
Okay. Are the other tokens out right now? I can only see Uba's.
That's because you're in the corner by yourself.
Ah, okay. I see.
And the entrances, the staircases?
No, the entrance, there's a door directly like north of Sulveran.
Okay.
That's the primary door that we think they will likely come through, even though there is another one.
I'm going to remove the Fog of War.
As a reminder, I do have
to...
only about an hour left.
Yeah, I can't move that glyph, but,
Yeah, I'd have to move it. Just tell me where you want it centered.
So that crossing, like, into the area, because I can only see parts of this, crossing into the area, like, walking through the doorway and stepping into, like, the area of combat zone would, be an option to set it off. The Glyph of Warding, you can set it off on, like, password to not go off, but you can also set it off to just go off on a password, right?
I
don't know well enough.
Because it's like a bunch of contingencies.
Why don't you output it to the chat?
Yeah,
only under certain circumstances or according to physical characteristics, creature kind, or alignment. And you can set conditions for creatures that don't trigger the glyph, such as those who say a certain password.
But importantly with that, it doesn't matter when it goes off if somebody who's not coded is in the radius. It will still affect them. They just can't set it off. But if it goes off and they're standing next to it, it will still affect
them. So yeah, Sulveran describes the outline of this and gets everyone under strict orders to remain out of the way. And in that case, so since it can be avoided with a password, can it then be triggered with the password, because then he would just code it to Alveron saying something dramatic and give him the key to when to blow it up.
Okay.
I'm guessing I should go with something a little more poetical than "die, motherfucker, die."
I mean,
That
it
sounds
is
like a
in
good
Alveron's
password.
nature, but you know.
I'm going to output this. Or not, I want that. So, yeah, you can code it to a word or something like that. It doesn't have to just do damage. It can also store a spell if you prefer it to be a spell. If you want Sulverans to
Because, like, it seems if you could condition it to not go off in a password, you could condition to go up for it to go off in a password.
sure, that's fine. The more important thing to me is where do you want it to be? Because, you know, whether Alveron sets it off or it goes off when they walk on it. Is it where it is, and then where do you guys want to be?
So the doorway is the doorway at the bottom there that we thought they were going to come through?
This is the big entrance. These two doors. There is an entrance through the back, like where carts and stuff can come through that are over here. You would expect them to come through this one, but there are multiple entrances to the place. They could also break in through the top if they really want.
Yeah. Perhaps at this center there, then where it is already through the doorway, but not so that like anybody walking past in the street can hit it. It's hard for me to make sense of like where we're at because I can't see anybody else's tokens.
You just have to move. It's. Here, let me just turn it off. I want the fog of war on for the fight because the layout of this place means that sometimes you will not be able to see where other people are, and I want to make sure we're fully aware of that. Right now, I will turn it off for us to see everything.
So just about here, so that if they come through the big entrance, they can be hit. They can also be hit if they're passing through these other doors.
Okay. Again, that will anybody. It doesn't matter if it's your party. They will be hit by this as well.
Right, but we can move. Yeah.
Sure. I just want to be clear with that because it limits your options by a lot.
Does anybody mind that placement or want better placement?
I think it's funny. I'm cool with it.
Will intentionally left
again,
it to Uber.
The radius doesn't matter if it's loaded with a spell. This is only if you're just doing damage.
And it's going to be the explosive rings, right? That is the one that Sulveran is doing.
We could do that, or we could. Yeah, because I don't think we can load it with like a spell scroll.
No, we'd have to be.
It has to be one of yours. Like it can't even be a spell of mine.
Yeah, and I can't think of anything that he has that would currently prepared that would be better. So.
Also, slight side note: are these shelves like super high? Like, is it impossible to launch attacks through them, especially for someone that's 2.5 feet tall?
It is impossible to launch attacks through them unless you are standing on top of them.
Okay.
They are quite high and they are full of stuff. If you wanted to take some stuff down, you could, but that might cue, like if you had this whole shelf over here removed of stuff for some reason, that would probably look very unusual to anybody walking in the door.
Are there any other traps here?
You can move stuff if you like. I can always edit the I can't edit the image immediately, but I can edit where the view is being blocked by.
I think this is probably fine.
There was a catwalk too, right?
Yeah, you can be up above. I think that's where Will's going to be. That is, it's hard
with
to
the glyph
hide.
where it is.
Yes.
Will is not.
Will be somewhere. Okay. It's hard to hide up there because you know you're a little exposed, but they might not look up there.
But yeah, I think pass without a trace, and then we just wait for them, right? Like we know roughly when they're coming.
Early in the morning is when they're doing the. Okay, is everybody in the place they want to be?
Move. I want to be over, down from Uba. Hold on. See a second.
We all have to be within 30 feet of Uber. That's the other thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it 15 feet?
No, it's a 30 feet radius. So however that works, I don't remember.
So most of the room you could be standing.
Yeah.
If Uba is standing.
All right, let's try to. I mean, I know I don't want us to take too much time, obviously, but action-wise, so is the plan once they're in and once they're in the radius, set this off, and then have that be our opening volley and go after them?
Yes.
Okay, if that's the case.
You make some kind of dramatic speech, like, I beat you to it, blah, blah, blah.
Just so you guys understand what your vision will be in those spots, I'm going to turn the flag of war back on.
Remind me with Hunter's Mark, or not Hunter's Mark, sorry, Pass Without a Trace. If we step out of the radius and then come back in, are we back under the umbrella, or it's no longer in effect on us?
I think that it should count. It's not specific, but it says that the first sentence says a veil of shadows and silence radiates you,
This
masking
has
you.
come
and
up
your companions
before,
from
and I
protecting
think the official ruling is yes. This specifically, you can leave and come back in. It's not like, say,
Okay.
tiny hut. Okay. Everybody make a stealth check then, since it seems like these are the places you are going to want to be.
Yes. And we have advantage if we're in the.
No, you have a +10.
Oh, +10.
If you have advantage from something else, you would also get that.
Uber has advantage.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot that I did
Right.
when I first rolled.
I've still got disadvantage from my armor.
Right.
Damn, that's
I
a
get it.
33
I
for
know.
both me and Alveron.
16.
Even sitting absolutely still, we're creaking.
I mean, so 16 is the lowest with Medea. That's par for the course.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You guys are in place. You're waiting. Kind of have. You're kind of like breathing hard. You're just waiting. Some time passes, and you don't think you've been waiting for more than 5 minutes by the time you've set everything up and like are in position and the glyphs have been set. But it feels like you've been waiting for 20, and then that turns into an hour of just waiting. Not quite an hour, it's more like 45 minutes waiting, at which point you hear the of the doors being open. I think just Medea and Uba sees Captain Otheran flanked by a very thin, tall man who the two of you have never seen before. Actually, I think the two of you have never seen Captain Otheran either, so I will describe him as well. Is a tall, heavy-set man with a long black beard, tinged in spots with gray and white. His hair is long, black, and greasy, though it is behind a hat and covered up. Standing next to him is a thin, kind of maybe even slightly bookish-looking man with a seemingly permanent scowl placed on his face. Behind them is a towering man with blonde hair, kind of unkept in the back. He is carrying a longsword on one side, which seems to you to be quite fancy. It has some gems set in it, and it's the only thing about him that is really stand out, other than his size. This is a very, very large man, hulking, although he doesn't make that much noise as he's moving into this space. Next to him is a human woman with white hair. She seems set apart from the rest of them. Or I'm gonna space them. She's wearing a very fancy coat with it's gray, but it's got gold embroidery all along it. Very fancy brass buttons, and she almost has a sneer on her face. It's not quite like a smile. It's a little bit more. Standing behind them are two dwarves walking seemingly in lockstep. Or the warnings. I don't know if you guys get those.
Yes.
They look. Sorry, it's work about their sheets. They look. Nobody would mistake them as not being related. Though they are dwarves, they seem about the same age as well. They are wearing no armor, but they each carry battle axe, and it's almost freakish how like in tune with one another they are. How like almost as though like this is a spell that's being cast and nearing a person, whether they're very clearly different. They all walk in, and the captain says, "Ha, Lady Stenna, where are you? Let's get this done with." He's looking about. House, go check it out. Gaius, head down the stairs. Like this. The thin man is going to start coming around, as well as the bigger man heading for the staircase. He's kind of standing near the entrance, kind of just looking about, turning to the others and saying, "Something's off about this one." Feel free to interrupt me whenever you're ready.
Who's in charge of this glyph?
Alveron, unless
dramatic.
I'm mistaken.
Okay.
I'm just waiting for Alveron to take the first move.
Okay. As
Yeah, I think it's too late now.
As Danis is moving towards the stairs, Medea, though cloaked within the shadows as you are, the trained ears on this man seem to just hear clink, 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 and he turns and he sees you. He says, "Oh, Captain, we've got something over here," and he is going to begin stepping towards you all. They're going to move in a little bit as well. Camille is actually going to stay slightly.
I think as that is happening, Uba's going to make a gesture in Alveron's direction of like, the glyph, set off the glyph.
Danis is pulling out a long sword, as well as Aus is pulling out a rapier. You can see the captain also. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, just at the furtive motion, Alveron has a line, but don't let me.
No, go ahead.
Stop you, Andrew. If you.
I'm waiting for you to be like, I say
Gotcha.
the thing. Whatever you
Gotcha.
planned.
I had it and then I lost it. I want to, but I think I'm just gonna go with "It's over, Orthorin," and then.
Is this just normal fire damage? I totally forgot to ask that now. You have your choices are acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder.
Sounds like
I'll
thunder.
let you.
Yeah, I think it's thunder.
I think it's poison.
Thunder is
Okay.
fine.
You sure it's not
Um.
poison? They're all going to make a roll. They're all standing within the radius. Okay, Camille totally saves. Thema, your DC is 16.
Wow.
So the captain and Thema fail. Everybody else saves. Go ahead. I know you rolled, or that roll outputted, but I had done that roll. So go ahead and roll the damage for me. 5d8.
Did you say it was thunder damage? Or
Yes,
fire?
I believe so.
If that's
Thunder
the case,
damage because of your thing.
Kojin is jumping up and down very excitedly, since Kojin also uses thunder.
31. That's pretty good. Pretty
Nice.
good roll on 5d8. Okay. So front of it. Is that gonna happen? I'm just gonna.
I think it's gonna happen every time.
Because they don't have levels, but I gave them a feature from a class, and I think that thing does. Hopefully, that doesn't. So then 15 to the rest of them. The captain also. Can you actually?
Oh.
Build also takes no. Sorry, Aus also takes no damage. Same person. I clarified there.
Guess we've got some thieves
Different name.
to deal with over there. Rogues, to use the politically correct term.
Dance also. So we can take the full brunt of this. There's a thunder of boom. The whole building shakes. You all are, I assume, spring into action. So at this point, let's go ahead and roll some initiatives.
Does my blast go off?
What was the trigger?
When the glyph goes off.
It can, but you can only see Uba.
That's true. Could I have then instead readied Radiant Soul?
Sure, that's fine. Radiant Soul can.
Okay.
Who has the blessing? For
Yeah,
initiative?
Vigilant.
Jack.
Yeah, my character Jack.
Yeah. Well, I was
What is
gonna
this
say like
nonsense?
What? What is what
Pretty
nonsense?
immediately.
Listen, your Visterianus will not be fucked with.
Alright, I
Yeah.
tried to roll this with advantage. It didn't do it. I'm just going to click it again and
That's
tell
fine.
you which one. Oh yeah, I forgot the way this whole thing works. I just have to roll it, I think.
Oh, so the 13th was your first one?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna assume
20.
that. It's like,
Damn.
when it actually.
Yeah, this
That's
is
the
like the first time Will's had a high initiative.
all right. Combat begins. I'm gonna go ahead to get rid of that thing. The thing explodes outwards. Most of these shelves are knocked around, almost completely down from that 31. So I'm actually going to remove this line of sight barrier. These are still going to be considered difficult terrain, but they have been destroyed enough that you can see through them pretty easily for purposes of spells and range checks. So, well, those of you down in the corner can't really tell, but I think Medea and Uba can see the immediate difference as this happens. Bits of wood go flying in every direction. Some of them do land on the trio off in the bottom right. Yorvis had already pulled his longsword out, so he's just going to close the gap towards Medea and start to swing away.
I already used my reaction, so Polearm Master doesn't happen.
Yes, correct. Going to attack you. with this fancy longsword. Hitting once. Hitting twice. He is going to use a precision attack. He's going to add his superiority dice to this roll.
Worst.
Damn.
Hitting. So you're going to take 30 points of damage as he steps up. Though he is big, there's a surprising amount of deftness and dexterity to each of the blows. He's a practiced form of a master swordsman as he slices, hitting right at the parts where your armor are weakest. He says nothing this whole time, but looks at you with an almost passive anger, just waiting for your return. And it is then Medea's turn.
I think Medea has normally like a pretty panicked expression during fights, but as this happens, they seem to have like a sense of calm as they're just immediately almost brought halfway to death, and their wings spring out, and they just try to return it as much as they can. And I'm just going to make 3 attacks. Does an 18 hit?
An 18 would hit, however, your Vistanis is going to parry, adding 3 more to his AC, blocking this blow, using his reaction to do so.
Ooh, okay. I'll make 2
Good
more.
try.
Oh, talked.
This time, unable to catch this return blow from your spear, he's going to take that 14.
Okay. The 7 only adds on this one, and then I'm going to dump a 2nd level smite into him immediately. He's not a fiend, so it's just an extra 3d8. 28. And then I'm going to make my bonus action. Does the 25 hit?
Yes, 25 would.
Oh, subtract 7 from that last one. I don't know why. I tried to set it up so it only adds 7 on the first one, but that's 8.
Okay.
And I will simply add just another 1st level smite. So it's going to be 8 plus 3. So 11.
You stab at him twice, and he does seem to go down to bloodied by this.
Mm-hmm.
Having already taken the brunt of the explosion, and then you're hitting him with these massive paladin blows. His face of anger turns into a smile, and he says, well, this'll be fun. It is then going to be Will's turn. He is bleeding from several wounds, and he's got like a bit of cuts on his face from minor wood shrapnel.
Yeah.
Will smiles at Sulveran, gives a nod to Alveron, grips both sides of her cloak, and just spins upwards like a top into the air, flying up to cut. I'm gonna move myself over here to get vision on as many as I can.
That's fine, but you're up above.
But yeah. Cool. I'm gonna. She stops, perches on top of one, maybe on the catwalk above. She doesn't need vision for it, but she'll stop somewhere in her flight.
Right.
I'll cast Crippling Indecision, which should hit everybody because it's a 40-foot cube.
You want to be on the middle catwalk?
I'm gonna jump back down after. So it's
okay. That's fine.
But she has to stop to have the hand space, basically. Yeah, that's what I meant. That's the cube I meant. I mean a 40-foot cube that hits everybody. I assumed that hitting the middle point of that would work. Yeah, so they all have to make a DC 17 Wisdom saving throw. Or be...
Oh, sorry, that's not me.
No. It's also six figures I choose. And it's them.
So all of them. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
I'll move this.
I like the idea that immediately seeing casting, Alveron's like,
Gotta make sure that my brain's safe.
Am I in danger?
I'm just going to do the same thing. Oh.
Yep.
Where I roll them all.
Sure.
Okay, Camille saves again.
This kid, this Camille, I don't like it.
Thema saves. Everyone else fails. Wait. However, Captain Otharan is going to use a legendary resistance to succeed at the save.
You didn't use a legendary resistance against the.
It's just damage.
This is
Forget that.
I forget that I have to get through all of these things.
Since you cast a wisdom saving throw against him, and he succeeded, you lock eyes with him for just a moment, and they flare green, and you are brought temporarily down into the depths of the sea. You feel struggling as though drowning for a moment. You overcome this, but it has shaken you. If somebody attacks you, they will have advantage on their next attack.
Great. Will backflips off the railing and uses the rest of her flight speed to just like be nowhere near that nonsense. I'll be like as far away as possible. I have 40 flight speed, so I assume I can get like back to the back of the room.
Sure.
Cool. Oh, while I'm up there, actually, before I do that, I will have Will yell to Alveron. I already hate your ex-captain. Just kill him for bardic inspiration. And that tell Sulveran that Medea looks like she's already taken some damage. And then I'm done.
Yeah.
Sulveran retorts back. Indeed. He's so shocked.
All right, Alveron, it is then your turn as this field of slow begins to affect several members of the crew from the Blackened Skies.
Okay. I need to get eyes on what all is out here. So, 1, 2.
Coming
Oh,
to,
boy.
you can see Aus, Thema, and not quite Danis. Oh no, that's just broken. So you can actually see everybody. You can see Camille, you can see the captain, Thema, Garrett, and Aus. The
Gotcha.
captain looks at you. He says, "Aha, Alveron! Well, everything's here now, isn't it?"
Yeah. Sorry, Alveron does not go yeah,
Alveron's
in response to that. Oh, you salty sea dog. All right. What is all right? Goose was hit by that, but I've already moved 2. I can just get to Oust, but that's probably not a good idea to use all of my move. Well, actually, we decided that with Misty Step, I can use that, and that will add, what is it, another 15 to my movement?
Yeah, to your movement speed.
Yeah. It's another 3. So that was 1, 2. So I'll go another.
Where are you trying to get to?
I'm just looking at. I can use if I use my regular movement, I can get up to them, attack, and then I'm just making sure I have it. And then I want to make sure of this actually because I might not have to use it. Oh, I could just dash actually.
Yeah, you can just bonus action dash away.
I can just dash. I don't need to, and that'll give me my full movement again. So yes, actually. So I will do that. I will run up. And I will make sure of this. So I'm gonna disadvantage, but it's not that. It's sorry, I'm just making sure. Where's the God damn it. It's just here. And you don't have disadvantage. Cool. So I will get sneak attack on Aus. And I have bonus action is cunning action, so I could still use a reaction, but I will save that just in case I need uncanny dodge or something. All right, got it. So I will make my attack on Aus. And hopefully I get sneak attack with this. Let's see. Probably. No, I can.
You do have bardic
I do have,
inspiration.
and that's a D6, right?
D8.
No, how dare you?
Oh, I am so sorry.
It hasn't been a D6 forever.
Yeah.
It's a D8. It's actually
We
gonna
also
go up
talk
soon.
about Alveron in combat is off to a great start as always.
Well, you got your normal 13.
I mean,
Yeah,
the
my normal
damage roll
13.
wasn't bad.
It wasn't.
That is enough to hit Austelbeld.
Excellent. And then I did declare, well, I guess it isn't the declare thing, but sneak attack does go off as well. Not bad. So all 13s, folks, if we're keeping track at home, all 13s through that. And then I will dash. I do not want Camille to have line of sight on me. So I will dash back 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, are these? Hold on. Are these blown out as well?
Yes, anything you can see through is blown out.
3. I can't see through it until I try to duck behind it. Like it doesn't.
Oh yeah, the basically the two that were immediately next to the glyph, so took like a ton of the damage, are blown out.
Gotcha.
They are difficult terrain, but again, you can see through them. They're kind of crashed here and there.
Yeah. All right, so then I duck back. So just out, sneak attack, pierce into Aus, and then with just a last look at. Thank you. That is actually helpful. A last look into Orthrin's eyes. Duck back. When I looked at Orthrin, I have the Justicar's helm on, and I do have the ability to. Do I see? Does the helm help me pierce through anything? Do I see anything in him when we look at each other?
You see through the Justicar's helm as you look. His eyes are, even though he's not actively doing anything, have a subtle haze to them of this green, this verdant green color. You can also see with the Justicar's helm, his sword is normally you don't really see magical enchantments, but there's something about it that causes that to glow through the Justicar's helm as well. As you're looking at that, as you're leaving, you can see he's pulled it out. It's got barnacles. It's like a long cutlass. It's got barnacles over the hilt, those big starfish. And there is the, as he's holding it out, you can see a person, hard to tell features apart from they are opened mouthed. It's carved in like silver where the hilt meets the blade. And it looks as though water is pouring out of their mouth and their eyes.
Could I make a?
You make a religion.
I guess would that be?
Or Arcana?
Yeah, would that be religion? Being a former adherent in the Church of Similis, would I have advantage on that or no?
It will make the check easier, but you will not get it.
All right.
It kind of like maybe tickles something at the very back of your mind, but it eludes you in this moment.
I very seriously think about calling up to Will, and I'm just like, this should probably wait. She seems busy.
Will is not busy. Will's like inspecting her fingernails behind a thing.
So it's remind me for a slow, a half movement and only one action.
Let me tell
minus
you
2
exactly
AC as well.
Yeah.
The minus 2 AC is important. I accidentally went to my
affected
inventory.
The last hit for sure.
Yeah, -2 penalty to dex saves. It can't use reactions. It can either action or bonus action, not both, and can never make more than one melee or ranged attack during its turn. If it attempts to cast a spell, it has to roll a d20. On an 11 or higher, the spell doesn't go off till next turn when it requires the action again.
Right. So
And then it's a save at the end of it every turn.
And then half movement as well, right?
No.
No, not half movement? Okay.
Yes, it does say half.
Oh, it is.
Okay, yeah, I
It
was
is half.
like,
You're
I
right.
could've
It's the
sworn-
first thing. It's the first thing that I did.
Reads the first thing.
Okay.
I got to numbers. Started reading at numbers.
Moving over to support their companion. They're
Uh,
going to
yeah.
attack. Sorry, go ahead.
Reaction from Polar Mass.
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
That will miss them.
Yeah.
Even with the reduced speed. They move over, seemingly to attack Medea, but upon standing next to Uba, they look down at you and says, "Swarm are these things," and stabs out at Uba.
The absolute disrespect.
They're going to make a rapier attack.
Yeah, you got called part of a swarm.
They can only make
And
these.
then just got annihilated.
Yes. I'm sorry. He has advantage on this. That still hit.
Nothing as foreboding as you saying. I'm sorry.
This is a critical hit. He is assassinating. You have not gone yet. So I'm going to roll this twice for the sneak attack and an extra d8 for his rapier. Uba, that is a total of 53 points of damage coming your way.
Ow. I'm at 8.
No slow.
Uba just jumped the queue.
Alstel steps forward, takes a couple steps, and he just stabs you straight in the heart. No hesitation. He pulls it back, licks the blood off the blade, and has almost started to ignore you, just assuming that you're going to die very quickly from this blow.
Disrespectful.
In almost as
Andrew,
assaulting a fashion as possible.
Andrew,
Yes.
just so we're clear, you said it was 53 because of a reason other than the numbers, or because you accidentally
Maybe I did
added
the math
Medea's missed hit? Because I'm pretty sure
It's
that
44.
it's 44.
I think I maybe added the
Medea's hit.
No, not
Yeah,
Medea's
the
hit.
nine.
I added something else twice.
Okay, so I'm not as dead as I thought.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Will
Thank you
from the
for
back
that.
of the room's like, that math didn't check out.
I'm at 17 now, which is still bad, but significantly better.
You'll be fine.
Yes. Okay. So that's Elspeth's turn. Captain Otheran is then going to go. He is not slowed, thankfully. He's going to move down 30. Looking for Alveron. Technically, your corner.
Sticks his head around the corner.
I don't know. I
Neck
can't see
locked
him.
off by.
Your corner tiles. But it's just a little bit too far to be dead on. I'm gonna give him.
I am also still within 30 feet of Uba, I will say.
Yeah, but he's standing right next to you. That's okay. He's going to move up. He is looking at you through the thing, because now that he's standing right next to it, you're Alveron. Don't run away, boys. Get him! And as he calls out, he's going to use the maneuver allies action. So everybody gets to move. Can use their reaction. So not everybody. Some of them don't have it. but can use their reaction to move up to half their speed without provoking attack. Thema is going to here. Camille is going to circle around. Over to here.
So no one affected by
They can't
crippling
use,
indecision are able to move, right?
They can't use their reactions, so at the moment. Okay, that's gonna be his turn for now.
Okay.
Uba,
That means at this moment, Alveron has been more effective this combat.
It is then your turn.
Okay, I think Uba first is gonna cast Bounty Hunter's Mark on oh geez, what is this character's name? Is it Ustal, you said?
Aus. It's like
Aus.
house, but just ignore the H.
Okay. Yeah, so Uba's gonna cast Bounty Hunter's Mark on Aus. And then I think Uba's actually gonna heal themselves instead. And use Cure Wounds.
You can't cast 2 spells.
Before I forget, is slow at the
it-
end or beginning of their?
It's the end. They should. So Aus certainly should have made it save already.
Just because that might factor into this. So he does not have a super high wisdom save. No, he's
So
still
I
slow.
can't.
Okay.
I can't cast 2 spells even if one of them's a bonus action.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Specifically, if one of them's a bonus action, you can't cast 2.
I see. Okay. If that's the case, Uba is gonna attack with the Emerald Dagger.
Lashing out. This man who just wounded you deeply.
No.
Oh God!
He just like
damn.
carries it out of the way. Then the second strike hits.
Okay, so let me do.
But he has taken damage as well.
Okay, so let me math. Okay, so that's a D8 for Colossus Slayer, a D8 for Bounty Hunter's Mark, and then this character is a humanoid, yeah?
Yep.
Okay. So that's,
Oh yeah.
Good, 17.
that's
Nice.
the added damage.
So
And then I
another
think
4
from
favorite enemy.
in that moment, Uba is also going to yell at Kojin, not meanly at Kojin, but be like, "Did you see what he just did? Get him!" And
The disrespect.
Disrespect.
he's gonna
I should
send
pull out
Kojin
a-
out to bite this man. I don't think that's gonna hit though.
No, that will hit because of slow.
Okay.
Get off the counter. Sorry.
Kojin bites someone, and Aus somewhere in his past is told to get off a counter.
So you stab him like with much greater force than he was expecting. He's like, "Argh!" And then Kojin goes up and bites him like right in the calf. He's like, "Argh! Ugh!"
Yeah.
Like straightens himself for a second, and just readies the rapier to stab at you again on his next turn.
Oh shit.
Sulveran, it is then your turn.
All right. So Uba didn't heal, right? So that both of them are quite fucked up.
Uba has Medea's taking damage. Uba is
Mhm.
almost dead. I would phrase it that way. Like
Yeah.
one hit away from death.
Nice.
Everybody else is
Um,
solid.
All right, so in that case, having run the numbers and the way averages work for cure wounds, instead of that, Sulveran is going to. It's almost like abrupt. He too lifts into the air to get sight lines using his Steps of Night feature from the Twilight. And then
Oh,
with
this is not considered dim lighting.
oh.
Yeah.
We're not in a dim I just assumed we were in a dim warehouse.
No,
That's
there's
like,
there's some big ass
aesthetic.
windows over here.
Yeah. Aesthetic, man. It's got to be a dusky warehouse. All
It's a
right.
dusty
Well,
warehouse in the middle of the night. Yeah.
If he moves over to this corner, can he peek around and see Medea?
Yes.
Okay. Because an aid would be better right now on them than cure wounds on one, given the average.
That's funny.
You can also
What?
climb these
Well, 40 at 4th
these
level.
shelves as well, if you would like to. Although that will open you up to being a bigger target.
Well, I'm already quite the big target. These shelves, how tall are they?
They're about 7 feet, probably closer to 8 feet actually. So you can climb them in a round.
Okay.
You have to kick some shit off, but.
Well, I could climb them and then come back down, right? Because they're 7 feet tall. And
it takes you. It's not 8 feet of movement. It would be more than that. So you could get up there and come back down, or get up there and do something. If you were Alveron, could climb it and then come back down because they have dash.
Okay. Yeah. So in that case, Sulveran's just going to stalk over and just brace Uba a little bit with a quiet, you're all right now, and then cast aid at 4th level.
It's the nicest Sulveran's ever been to anyone in the party.
Yeah. Well, is this like a doppelganger?
Are you about to die? Is Uber about to die and this is like the last rites?
I
don't feel like Sulveran's last rites would be quite so calm and kind.
Yeah. Hold on, it's not popping, so it's just it's at 4th level, so that's 5, 10, 15, I think. Max and current for both of them and himself.
Nice.
You can I know that giving it to yourself is not bad, but you don't need line of sight for that. So you could give it to Alveron.
You said it was 15?
Then in that case it is to Alveron.
Oh, okay. So that ups my max.
It's just 3 creatures in range, so.
Interesting. Thank you for pointing that out, Jack.
So I was just like, is this one of those ones you don't need line of sight for? Feels like it might be.
Then in that case, he doesn't even have to move.
Just stands there and just radiates some help.
All right, am I?
Right. Anything else?
Hello? Okay.
Charlie, that's your turn.
I can't hear you. Can you say again?
That's your turn.
Yeah, I can.
Right.
I don't have any bonus action cantrips.
Okay. So make sure Uba and everybody else, Alveron, get that 15 extra HP. Max increase and current. And the max increase may matter later, so make sure you. At the end of Sulveran's turn, it is Camille's turn.
Her, I am most scared of.
I assume you told us about these people in the lead up. Yes. Great. I'm going to ask you questions about Camille on my turn.
Well, especially especially Camille, I would have talked about. She was the one who would use her abilities to make the conscripts fight each other and kill each other on the deck for everyone else's entertainment.
Gross.
So there's a particular hatred there.
And she keeps critting saves, which is the most offensive thing.
Right?
Like.
Me is going to dart down. $30. Hi, Alveron. Peace.
How the fuck?
Gross.
I need you to make me a wisdom saving throw.
Gross.
The command is to follow the words of the great Captain Othran to the letter.
And there's not. I don't have a. Oh no, I don't have anything that would help with this. I don't think. Let me just make sure. No, that doesn't do anything.
You're not weirdly within 10 feet of Medea.
No,
That would be helpful, wouldn't it?
just outside,
All right.
actually.
Wisdom.
Yep, wisdom saving throw. That's going to be a failure.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, you are. I just want to read out. So you are charmed for the duration. If you try to act in a manner other or counter to your instructions, you will take 5d10 psychic damage once per day.
5d10. Damn.
5d10,
Okay.
You can move it early with remove curse, greater restoration, or wish.
How long is the restoration? How long does this last for?
30
30
days.
So that
Alveron.
sucks.
It's only the first time you would take damage. You take damage once a day.
But you are charmed, so you can't attack the charmer or target the charmer with harmful abilities or magical effects, and they have advantage on any ability check to interact socially with.
Okay.
For this instance, I'm going to say, because of the nature of the command, they are passing that on to the captain.
Oh,
the
okay.
captain is
So
the object of the charm effect.
All right. So can you just make sure to say that one more time? So I can't target him at all.
Correct.
All right. This is very important that you are setting that as the precedent for how this works.
Sure.
Great. All right. I'm taking gears now. It's a much better spell with that.
Andrew, does my one feature interact with Geas in a different way at all?
Well,
Can
which feature?
The Channel Divinity option, does that allow me to let Alveron make a second saving throw against it?
Let me read it real quick.
Did we write it down anyway? We wrote it down, right?
Oh, this is from the armor. Is that what you're talking about?
No. Remember we changed the Channel Divinity, the first one, to be allow a creature to repeat a saving throw against charm effects.
I'll let you double check. My gut reaction is to say that maybe, but you definitely have to touch them to do that either way.
Yeah.
See if you can find that for me. You also are not aware that this has happened.
Yeah.
Is then going to be Eric's turn.
Shit.
Boy, I think that lady did some magic to me, sis. Well, knock it off! And she slaps him. He is going to make another wisdom saving throw. What's the save?
17.
Okay.
My favorite NPCs so far.
Yeah. Pity they'll be dead soon. We should keep them alive and travel with them.
Yeah.
When Alveron's dead.
Well, get up in there, sis. He's going to rage, which also makes Thema rage. It is then their turn. Thema's going to step over to here. I hate to fight without my brother, but you're in my way. And they're going to attack Medea recklessly. Twice. Terrible rolls. 21. So that hit.
No, that misses.
22. That's right. You just got the thing. Okay. So they bang their axe against you. Garrett, why do you have to be all ensorcelled? I could do better if you were staying next to me. They're frustrated. Back up to the top. Garrett also needs to make another save for the end of his turn. I forget. Just barely. Good. These people are not wise. Problem.
That's very useful.
Well, at least the twins aren't. Yorvis is going to. I guess one attack, but he's also going to attack.
That's annoying.
13 plus. He will use his martial die to add a d8. Well, 14. He uses a bonus action. Okay, he gets a wisdom saving throw though. Turn.
Yeah.
No.
That's pretty good.
Pretty bad spell for them. It doesn't matter. Some of them have pretty good wisdom saves, but not all of them. Medea, it is then your turn. You are somewhat surrounded at this point. But that's
Medea's
just a target-rich environment.
Medea is going to just attempt to, I guess, beat the shit out of Jorvis, and they're going to look to the rest of the crew, and they're going to look at Thelma and say, almost politely, we're having a bit of a duel here, if you would mind giving us some space. And they'll sort of like nod towards the rest of the room.
Okay.
And I'm going to make 3 attacks against Jarvis.
First
Total
one misses.
left.
That second one, Thema is going to use their reaction to impose disadvantage on the roll. That again.
Okay. Still hits.
Okay.
Damn.
They ignoring you completely. Thema goes to like hit the spear out of the way and says, "We're pirates, miss."
So it still
Duel's
hits,
going
right?
on here. It does still hit, yeah.
Okay, it didn't add, but that's an extra
Extra
8 damage on that. So it's 19 from Radiant Soul, and then my bonus action attack.
That also hits.
Yep. And I'm gonna add 1 first level smite.
Okay.
Figure I should be conservative with my smites in this fight. So it's an extra 9 points of damage.
All right.
28, 6, 34 damage total. Yeah.
Yorvis is looking quite injured at this point. You're pretty okay, but if it wasn't for this magic, this fight would be over already. At the end of Medea's turn, Captain Otheron is going to use a legendary action.
Shit. Yeah, his legendary reactions can go off at any time, right?
Yes.
It's the end of anyone's turn except for his.
He's going to move 5, 10, over to here. Just moving past Alveron, knowing that you're charmed, and yeah.
He hasn't given a command
make
though
attack
yet.
of opportunity, but you will take damage. Would you like to do so?
No, because the command is to follow his words, right? And he hasn't made a command yet.
Correct, but he is still the target of the charm effect.
Yeah, so it's with disadvantage.
No,
That's how that
he
works.
normally cannot target them, is the way it works. That's the wording on the charm. Remember, you cannot attack the charmer or target them with harmful abilities or magic.
Is that in the...
Okay.
They go in the chat. I'm just trying to find the...
You can pop it out
It's
to
just
keep
the way
the...
that it's just the way that the charmed works.
Yeah, I'm just looking for it.
Yes, specifically says you can act in a manner counter to this, but you take 5d10 points of damage.
Well, directly
And you
counter
can't do
to
that more than once per day.
Also, that there's no way that's the interaction for how Gaius works. You can never interact with charmed that way. Like, you cannot attack the charmer. Even breaking Gaius doesn't do that.
Sure, that's fine. Then
Like-
you can attack them. I just was going to
Yeah,
give you the
like,
option.
because the command of Gaius and the charm effect of Gaius are different.
Separate.
They're different things that you're interacting with.
A bit weird, but
Because there are
Works for
times
me.
that, yeah.
in that case, he just walks on by you without any worry. Oh, there's more over here. It's a party. It is then going to be Will's turn.
Alright. So since he didn't give Alveron a command, there's no situation in which Alveron can take 5d10 damage, because there's no command that the Gaius is breaking.
Sure.
He
will, in that case, now that I'm thinking about it.
Well, his turn ended.
Totally.
That's why I waited to tell you, Andrew.
He can talk whatever he wants. Alveron, go to the ship. Meet us outside.
Can you tell me about Camille? Like, do you know what type of caster Camille is?
So Alveron would have relayed to you, with his limited understanding of magic, that she preferred to make people do what she wanted. That's
Okay.
the most that Alveron would have been able to understand from his point of view of magic. But that they were a high-level spellcaster. They were kicked out of the Lyceum, not because they were doing a poor job, but because they did some bad stuff, supposedly.
Man, I just can't do anything to the captain because he'll just legendarily resist everything. So
He's only got so many per day.
Yeah, but I only have so many spells I can cast in a turn.
True.
Alright. Will kind of thinks and is like, she can't see anything on the battlefield, but she doesn't need to for this. And you start to hear like a ship's bell ringing, and from probably Sulveran, the captain, Alveron, and Camille all see a spectral anchor just appear around the top of Camille's head and snap her neck back. And I'll cast Willow's Psychic Anchor. And she has to make a DC 17 int save, or be incapacitated.
Right.
Great.
Damn.
So she takes 10 damage.
You mean
then
9?
I guess, yes.
You bitch.
Will's gonna move this way. And that's it, I guess, because I don't think I could see Sulveran as I moved past.
As a minor thing, now that I'm looking at it, her save DC is slightly off. It should be 1 higher because of a thing. The item is not adding it properly. Not that it would have affected anything yet. Since I'm... All right. That's the end of your turn?
Yep. Unless I could actually, I will. In the movement past, I like elevate slightly to give bardic inspiration to Sulveran, who's the nearest me, I think.
Okay. At the end of your turn, Captain Othran is going to finish walking using another legendary action to right behind Uba. Ah, welcome, little one. You ready to die? It is then Alveron's turn. Alveron, you have been instructed to exit the building and go back to the ship.
Okay. Not to be nitpicky, but there's not a time put on that.
You have to follow
in either
them
of
to
your
the best
instructions.
of your abilities.
And
if a Gaius was, I thought Gaius was like give the mission or something, or give a quest. Like if someone said go to this temple but didn't put a time limit on it, I could still get in a bar fight on my way to the temple, couldn't I?
You could do other things on the way. That is correct, but you cannot.
Yeah,
unless you try to subvert the thing, you cannot stop yourself from leaving.
But again, stopping on the way to do this fight does not directly counter the instructions to go to the ship today.
Right, and I'm not trying to be a dick about this. I'm just, am I understanding correctly? I do have to. My intention needs to be. Oh, I'm on my way. I am on my way, mother.
If you were to attack anybody in the room, I would consider that acting counter to the what the captain told you. He told you to leave this building and head back to the ship.
Can I
if you
confirm
did
that there are
something
doors?
after the fact, maybe there's some leeway there, but in the immediate, I don't see a way for you to misinterpret that, unless you're being willfully obstinate, which again, that's what the spell is designed to counteract.
Can I confirm that there are doorways on the side, like that's closer to Sulveran than Alveron? Like there's a back door.
There's doors near Uba. There's doors in the back. There's tons of doors.
All right. So, given that Alveron has the opportunity to move, Sulveran will call out to him, to me, Alveron, and he kind of like gestures at the doorway, but he's holding his hand out. And I don't know if Alveron can come up with a reason to make that take 40 feet or however many feet he needs to get there, but you know.
Sorry, you're up in the air.
He's got to remove curse ready for you.
You can make an Arcana check, is what you can do, Sulveran.
Sulveran is making the Arcana check?
Yes, if they want to try to alter Alveron's interaction because of their understanding of the spell, they have to understand the spell. Therefore, you have to make an Arcana check first.
All right. I don't think that Sulveran understands the spell.
Okay. Then I think he just you would think to say that.
To me? Okay, then he doesn't.
Okay. All right, so none of that happened. All right.
Correct. Yeah.
I have to leave the building.
There is so your options are up this way, over this way, or over this way. Those are the 3 exits.
Gotcha. And I know, like, I can hear there's the fighting going on, like, right here.
Correct.
Okay, what direction is the ship from here?
You actually don't know,
Do I know?
Which is why he told you to wait outside, thinking better of it in the last minute.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was going by the first instruction, which was...
Yeah, he kind of spoke over himself there at the end.
Gotcha. So what's the actual instruction I'm under?
So this is what he said. He said, go to the ship. No, wait for us outside, my boy.
Okay. I want to be sure about this. It says directly contravene, right? I cannot direct...
Correct.
If I cannot act in a manner directly counter. Okay, I'll start making my way outside. I better think about what's the most strategic way so I can move as fast as possible. Okay. I'll weigh my options.
Move the 5 feet. That's your whole turn.
That's my fucking turn.
Good enough for me. At the end of your turn, Captain Orthoran is going to attempt to knock Uba out by hitting them over the head.
This is so disrespectful.
To give you a cheap shot. So they're going to make an attack roll. That's going to hit. I need you to make me a DC 16 Constitution saving throw.
Okay, quick question
15,
about that.
Wrong. Sorry about that.
The Cloak of the Desert says that I get I gain a +1 bonus to AC and saving throws, like the Cloak of Protection.
Yes, as
so
though
that
it were a Cloak of Protection. That's correct.
Okay. So anything I'd roll right now, I just get a +1.
Yeah. Let me.
And you have +3 for Medea.
No, I never added that to the cloak. Never mind. Yeah. So whatever you roll will be +4.
Okay.
That unfortunately is still not enough. You are stunned until the end of your next turn as he just clocks you over the head with the guard of his sword.
Big thunk. Can Kojin still take a turn if Uba's passed out?
Yes, Kojin can still act.
Okay.
Based off of how we have decided to run. house is then going to go. Seeing Uba stunned, for the moment, is instead going to attack Medea. Check.
Damn.
16 points of damage to Medea as you are now getting attacked from multiple sides, rather.
Sara already left,
Oh, okay.
so you'll have to update it.
Turn. Um, Uba going to attack you once. He has pack tactics. 26.
Owie.
You can take you're stunned anyways, so you're gonna take 13 points of damage.
13, you said?
Yep, 13 from that one. And since you're up, that one misses even with advantage.
Yeah, 'cause I have
Oh, no.
multi-attack
Uh,
defense.
Right. Yes. So that was it. Yeah. Normally it would be a hit, but
Ew.
okay, that's his two things. I have to roll a thing to see if he gets that back. He doesn't this turn, so he cannot also come in. Get out of the way, stupid kobold. Flashing down at you.
Poor Uba's getting hate crimed.
Uba, at the end of your turn, you're no longer stunned. However, your turn passes by. Kojin can do like.
I think Kojin will go for Aus again since he is closer. So let me do that. That's not helpful. Is it maybe a little helpful?
That is a hit because of slow still.
Okay.
So these are only 4 points of damage though. At the end of Uba's / Kojin's turn, Captain Uthran is going to use 2 legendary actions to make attack against Uba again. So the advantage because pack tactics.
Damn.
Uba, you're gonna take 15 from that one. You can feel as this sword is biting into this deep cold, like you've just been plunged into seawater, also cutting down into.
Uba is hanging on by a thread, and by a thread I mean 4.
It is then Sulveran's turn.
All right. In that case, Sulveran is going to look kind of like around the room at what little he can see, and presumably he probably heard Uba's pain. And he is going to stalk forward to grab Alveron, and as he does, he just sort of like grabs him by the shoulder and he shakes him, and snaps out, "Make yourself of use." And as he does that, he removes the curse. Hopefully that populates.
You have to roll still.
All right.
What? Why do you have to roll still to stop the curse?
For the way that we've been doing remove curse, it is more like dispel magic, and this is a 5th level spell.
All right.
Okay.
That's the way we ran it in the.
Yeah, I thought that
Yeah,
was just
several
because
times.
it was.
There's a difference. It's not worth talking about it now, but
Yeah, I thought
That's
that
fine.
was because it was a special, like, crazy level curse, but that's okay.
you still have bardic inspiration. So.
Yeah, and let's see. No, that's a full action. Okay. So yeah. And that one counts for the Twilight one as well, right? It's still a roll on the Twilight, like, or no, the Twilight one is after his turn, at the end of Alveron's next turn.
Which one?
So yeah, because I have the Twilight Sphere removes curses as well, but that's at the end of the person's turn, so not optimal. Inspiration can be used after the roll, even if the roll is not great, right?
Right. Yeah.
All right, and is it opposing against the? You said it's a 5th level.
Yeah. So DC is 15.
Okay. So. And is it just D20 plus my modifier and proficiency?
Yeah, your wisdom. So
It
just wisdom.
doesn't
no,
include proficiency.
no proficiency. So D20 plus 5.
Okay. And Bardic is a D8, yeah?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Although, yeah, so you need a 7-up.
I'm going to use my inspiration to shake him again, because I'm not going to roll on that odds. Probably get worse, but we'll try anyway.
Okay. You just need to roll anyways, but you just need one.
Okay.
If you roll a 0 on this D8,
It could happen. I just throw the dice right off the virtual table.
Or Alveron, you stop from moving as Sulveran shakes you, feeling the curse. Behind you both, Kimmy says, "Well, that's not fair." Sulveran, you still have movement if you would like.
Alveron, just on free. What's the appropriate word for this? We're not going to put it on the stream. I don't know in Imris what the equivalent of the C word is.
We've got an Australian here, man. Like, you might as well say it.
I don't know. That's a listen. I say a lot. That word I don't often say, just personally. It's just me.
Fair enough.
But
I heard a kid shout at a bird before.
yeah, well, you're Australian. Y'all are built different, okay?
It just doesn't mean as much over there.
I know. Like, if I grew up in a penal colony, I'd probably say it too, all right? But I didn't. I only grew up with parents who hated each other, so it's mostly a penal colony. But yes, that get out of my head, you.
Sure.
And looking at her, and my eyes are as bright as they have ever been. I gave it my entire turn to take one step, and it was worth it to do that. But I really want to put a hex on this bitch.
Sulveran, you still have movement. Would you like to move at all?
So I know that everybody is generally in this zone where I've heard Uba, because I'm like, what I could see and what I could hear, I could probably hear them coming over there, right?
You hear sounds of combat over there. Yes.
Yeah. All right. So in that case, I'm gonna move closer in an attempt to draw attention and fire off of Uba, hopefully. Kind of move around. Oh, no, that's not where I want to be. Well, hell, I just stay where I'm at with Alveron.
Okay. Kimmy says, Captain, we have a problem. Yeah, right.
Uh-huh.
All right. At the end of your turn, or at the end of their turn, they attack. So that's 2, so 1. Just he's gonna save it. Kamigos. Okay, Camille is going to ready a spell scroll.
Oh fuck no.
The captain says, "Fuck, let's get the fuck out of here." He is going to use his final legendary action to move, and he's going to climb up to the top of this thing so that he's within line of sight. At which point, Camille is going to start casting teleport. If somebody wants to counterspell, now would be the time.
I mean, you know that I can't counterspell because I don't have line of sight. Like,
Oh, you're way back there. Sorry, I thought you were up on the thing still.
no.
Counterspell, or sorry, not counterspell. Teleport's going to go off. They get everybody.
Don't they need to make a roll?
They have to make a D100 roll.
Yeah,
if-
we don't. The
like-
roll isn't relevant to us.
Yeah, it
like,
doesn't.
it's just they
Oh,
might. end
I
up
thought she was
well.
casting from a scroll that she had to, but never mind.
Oh, you're right. Sorry.
No, she probably just has level 7
No,
spells.
no,
right?
you're right. Thank you. Thank you for correcting.
Thanks, Sean.
No, I'm forgetting. Jack, is this without proficiency as well?
Yes.
No, they're fine.
Damn.
I thought it was going to be 3 for a second. They all. You are left with just the echoing. The captain fades. You all look around. An empty warehouse. And that's where we're going to end today's session.
Ooh-wee.
That was a close one. All right. We're going to head off. See you all, same place next week.